Chapter 3059. I. Dongfang Xiaozue was completely dumbfounded. She was actually a woman without a mind of her own. Even if she wanted to kill someone, she didn't know how to hide it. She thought that Feng Tianlin wouldn't see her message, but she didn't expect him to really see it. She didn't know how to explain herself. Dongfang Xiaozue, I know that you've always wanted to kill Su Shihan, but she's innocent. No matter what, she's my daughter. She doesn't even know about all this. Why can't you tolerate her? She can't threaten your position, and she can't threaten Feng Shipian's position. Why do you have to chase after her? What Tianhu did before? I'm afraid it has something to do with you, right? Feng Tianlin wasn't stupid. He knew that Feng Tianhu was behind Su Shihan's assassination, but it was impossible to say that Dongfang Xiaozue wasn't involved. I'm sorry, Tianlin. Dongfang Xiaozue hated Su Shihan, but she didn't want to ruin the relationship between husband and wife. Feng Tianlin's words made her feel that Su Shihan's death wouldn't affect anything. A girl couldn't compete with Feng Shipian for the head of the house, and she wasn't Feng Tianlin's lover either. She was just the daughter of that lover. It didn't matter. But Dongfang Xiaozue was worried about Feng Shihan's safety, so she could only tell Feng Tianlin why she wanted to kill Su Shihan. Tianlin, listen to me. I'm doing this for Shihan. For Shipian? Feng Tianlin frowned and asked coldly, What do you mean? What does it have to do with Shipian? Let's see what excuses you can come up with. It's like this. Tianhu said that Shipian killed Nitian, and he said that he wants to pay with his life. He wants to kill one of your children before he can be at ease. As long as Su Shihan is dead, he won't pursue Shipian's crime anymore. Dongfang Xiaozue didn't dare hide anything and said what Feng Tianhu said. What a woman! Feng Tianlin didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but he was more angry. You believe what he said. Do you have a brain? Feng Nitian wasn't killed by Feng Shipian. It wasn't a big deal in the first place. Even if he killed them, father wouldn't be able to do anything to him. He's the only bloodline left in the ancient Feng family. If he died, our ancient Feng family would be finished. Do you think that's possible? Dongfang Xiaozue stammered, not knowing what to say. Tell your brother to cancel this plan right now. Feng Tianlin yelled. Oh, okay. Dongfang Xiaozue quickly picked up her phone and dialed her brother Dongfang Jinxing's number. Little sister, did you receive my message? I told the old man about this matter, and he agreed. You should know that the old man doesn't care about his grandson anymore. He is very fond of him. He decided not to send an Earth rank expert and directly sent an early heaven rank expert. How about it? You should be relieved now, right? Su Shihan, that little bitch, is dead for sure. Dongfang Jinxing picked up the phone and said excitedly before Dongfang Xiaozue could say anything. Dongfang Xiaozue froze and quickly said, Big brother, cancel this plan. Don't kill Su Shihan. Don't send anyone. Little sister, what do you mean? Why did you cancel it? Dongfang Jinxing paused. Big brother, Tianlin found out. I don't want to fight with him, so cancel it. Dongfang Xiaozue still cared a lot about Feng Tianlin. Little sister, I'm telling you, Buqiu already knows about this, and so does our father. He's already ordered to send people, but you suddenly canceled it. Do you think Buqiu will just let it go? Do you think that father's words are just for show? Dongfang Jinxing changed the topic. I'm sure you know father's character, right? He's a man of his word, and no one can refute his words. Neither you nor I can. Besides, after Buqiu goes, the old man loves Buqiu a lot. Even if Buqiu wants the stars in the sky, the old man will think of a way. Do you think Buqiu will stop just because you canceled it? You aroused his interest. The old man will make his wish come true no matter what. Dongfang Xiaozue was dumbfounded. She understood Dongfang Jinxing's words. She knew the old man Dongfang's personality very well. Once the old man Dongfang made up his mind, he wouldn't change it. Moreover, it involved Dongfang Buqiu. This meant that the matter was set in stone, and there was no way to change it. Okay, little sister, you talk to brother-in-law. It's just an illegitimate daughter, let it go. He doesn't want the old man to be unhappy, right? Dongfang Jinxing said, If there's nothing else, I'll hang up. You try to persuade him. Okay. Dongfang Xiaozue was helpless and could only hang up. The room was very quiet, so Feng Tianlin heard the conversation between Dongfang Jinxing and Dongfang Xiaocui clearly. He was a little lost. He didn't expect things to develop to this point. Now that old Master Dongfang had intervened, it wasn't something normal people could do anything about. Unless old Master Feng could make a phone call and mediate, there was no turning back. But the main problem was that Feng Tianlin couldn't ask old Master Feng for help. Su Shihan hadn't returned to the family, and she was a girl. Old Master Feng couldn't offend old Master Dongfang for her. Also, when Feng Shipian was poisoning Nitian, Feng Tianlin and old Master Feng wouldn't ask old Master Feng for help no matter what. Tianlin, I've tried my best, but my father, you know. Dongfang Xiaocui looked at Feng Tianlin weakly. Feng Tianlin was so angry that he snorted coldly. You can't do anything right, old woman. Tianlin, I'm wrong. Dongfang Xiaocui could only apologize carefully. Wrong? What's the use of being wrong? Feng Tianlin waved his hand impatiently and left the room. He was very annoyed. This matter was ruined by Dongfang Xiaocui, and since he couldn't change it, he had to think of a countermeasure. Chapter 3060. So for this matter, either Feng Shipian did it himself, or he had to find a powerful bodyguard for Su Shihan. San Wang was obviously not qualified. His strength was child's play in front a heaven-class master. But Feng Shipian couldn't leave the Feng family. If he did, people who didn't know would think that he ran away. So Feng Tianlin could only help Su Shihan find a bodyguard through other channels. Feng Tianlin more or less understood Dongfang Burui's personality. This kid was a devil incarnate. If he couldn't get what he wanted, then he would continue to pester others. So, if Su Shihan didn't have a powerful bodyguard, then she would be in danger. But where could he find a heaven-class master to be a bodyguard? It had to be known that heaven stage experts had their own pride. Which heaven stage expert would be a bodyguard for a singer from the secular world? Even if this singer was the illegitimate daughter of the ancient Feng family, it was still not enough. Those heaven rank experts were all hanger-ons of some clans. Letting them carry out a mission once in a while and giving them the corresponding benefits was enough. But letting them be a bodyguard by one person's side, this was something that Feng Shipian couldn't do. Perhaps only when old Master Feng personally gave the order would a few heaven-ranked elders of the family be allowed to become bodyguards. Feng Tianlin didn't have that power. However, Feng Tianlin had no other choice. He could only try anything in a desperate situation. He knew of a mission posting platform in the secular world. With an attitude of giving a try, Feng Tianlin filled in his requirements on it. Bodyguard Heaven Class Master. The protected target can follow the bodyguard. Move around in the city where the bodyguard is active. Monthly salary of 100 million. After thinking for a while, Feng Tianlin changed his requirements again and again. He tried to make the requirements as loose as possible. He knew that heaven-class masters had pride and temper. It wasn't realistic to expect him to follow behind Su Shihan as a bodyguard. He could only let Su Shihan follow by her side. Let Su Shihan move her work to the city where the heaven-class masters could move around. This was also a form of respect to the heaven-class master. And the monthly salary of 100 million seemed like an astronomical figure, but it wasn't high at all. Which family's hangers-on didn't take up more than this amount of resources? 100 million was still a small amount. It's just that he didn't know if heaven-ranked powerhouses would be able to see this kind of mission-posting platform in the secular world. But Feng Tianlin was extremely anxious, so he could only use this method to post the mission. After all, in the ancient era, only the blood-clothed Yellow Spring sect could be hired. Although it was possible to hire them to kill people, it was impossible to hire them as bodyguards. However, what surprised Feng Tianlin was that in less than half an hour after his mission was posted, there was actually a response. The phone number he left actually rang. If the possibility of a wrong number was ruled out, this call was definitely from the person who had accepted the mission. This was because this was an infrequent phone number. There were almost no people who knew this phone number. Moreover, a call came in not long after the phone was turned on, so it could only be through the mission release platform. Thinking of this, Feng Tianlin picked up the phone excitedly. Hello. It's Mr. Su, right? A deep male voice came from the other side of the phone. Yes, it's me. Feng Tianlin was even more excited. Mr. Su was a surname he casually made up on the mission posting website. It seemed that the other party was indeed calling for this matter. I can accept the mission conditions you proposed, but the monthly salary is a little low. Increase it a little. The other party went straight to the point. Feng Tianlin also knew that 100 million was really not a lot for a heaven-rank powerhouse, but he didn't have much private money either. He couldn't let the ancient Feng family pay for it, right? So, after hesitating for a moment, he said, how about 150 million? Okay, 150 million, but I have to add some cultivation resources. Whatever I need, you have to do your best to help me find it. The other party thought about it and agreed. This is not a problem. As long as you do your best to protect my daughter, finding some cultivation resources is not a problem. Feng Tianlin agreed readily. To him, finding cultivation resources was easier than asking him to pay another 50 million. Then there's no problem. I'll accept your mission now. The other party said, wait, how can I believe you? Are you a heaven-rank powerhouse? Feng Tianlin asked with some hesitation. It wasn't that Feng Tianlin was suspicious, but things were going too smoothly. Not long after he posted the mission, someone answered, and he even met the conditions. One must know that Feng Tianlin was looking for a heaven-rank powerhouse, not an ordinary assassin. He actually found one just like that. It made him feel a little unbelievable. I'm not a heaven-rank powerhouse, but the person I sent is a heaven-rank powerhouse in the early stage. The other party said, oh, that's fine, but let's make it clear that if it's not a heaven-rank powerhouse in the early stage, I won't fulfill my promise. Feng Tianlin was afraid of encountering a scammer, so he declared in advance. Anyway, although Feng Sanhuang wasn't a very powerful master, he could distinguish a heaven-rank powerhouse. If the other party was a fake, Feng Sanhuang wouldn't confirm it, and Feng Tianlin wouldn't transfer the money to him. Okay, pay after we meet. The other party said very straightforwardly. Okay, then how do we contact him? Feng Tianlin asked. I will let him call you to set up a location. The other party said, okay, I'll accept your mission. After that, the other party hung up the phone, and Feng Tianlin also saw that on the computer, the mission he posted was also accepted by someone. Feng Tianlin subconsciously clicked on the level and credibility of the person who accepted the mission, but when he saw it, he was shocked. The mission completion rate was actually 100%, and it was the highest level crown assassin in the Mission Commission network. Could it be true? Although Feng Tianlin didn't believe that a heaven-rank powerhouse could appear in a Mission Commission network in the secular world, this person didn't seem to be a scammer. Such a high level. With a 100% mission completion rate, there was no need to ruin his reputation because of this mission. After all, 150 million was not a small amount, but it wasn't a lot either. Many of the assassination missions here could reach tens of millions of rewards. Since this person had such a high mission completion rate, he definitely wasn't someone who hadn't seen money before. Therefore, Feng Tianlin was full of confidence in this bodyguard. Chapter 3061. After all, this matter was caused by Dongfang Xiaocui. Feng Tianlin wanted Feng Shipian to be more vigilant. The only thing that made Feng Tianlin happy was that Dongfang Xiaocui was an idiot, but Feng Shipian wasn't. Although he looked gentle, he was actually a very shrewd person. Arriving at Feng Shipian's room, Feng Tianlin quickly opened the door and walked in. Dad, you're here. Feng Shipian didn't feel that being under house arrest was a kind of torture. Instead, he cultivated peacefully. Seeing that Feng Tianlin came, Feng Shipian nodded to him and continued to cultivate. Shipian, there's something I need to tell you. Can you help me analyze it? What precautions should I take? Feng Tianlin could see that Feng Shipian wasn't an ordinary person after Feng Shipian returned safely from the Heavenly Elixir Sex trial. Although he was a good person, he wasn't a good person. Oh, what's wrong? Or is it because of the heaven-defying matter? Feng Shipian quickly stopped cultivating and looked up. It's like this, your mother, that old woman, can't do anything right. She's causing trouble for me. Feng Tianlin said angrily. It's like this. When Feng Shipian heard about his mother's actions, he furrowed his brows. He didn't approve of his mother's actions, but he could only smile helplessly and say, Father, don't be angry. It's not like you don't know that mother is like this. You understood this from the day you married her, Sai. Yeah, if I wasn't too weak, I would have rejected the marriage, but Feng Tianlin was a weak person compared to Feng Tianlong. His brother Feng Tianlong rejected the marriage and went to find his true love. This was something Feng Tianlin envied, but he didn't dare to do. But now, it was too late for him to regret. It was too late for him to regret. He could only take it one step at a time. Fortunately, I have you as my son. You didn't disappoint me. This was the only thing Feng Tianlin was glad about. Dad, let's not talk about this first. How are you going to deal with it? Feng Shipian waved his hand and asked Feng Tianlin. Sister Shirhan is in danger. The opponent is an early-stage heaven-class master. Only I can deal with it personally. But I can't leave now. If I want to leave, I'm afraid second uncle won't agree. I can't take it either. This is also what I wanted to discuss with you. Feng Tianlin said, It's like this. I found a bodyguard for Shipian. This bodyguard is an early-stage heaven rank expert. What? Heaven rank initial stage? Dad, are you kidding me? How can early-stage heaven rank powerhouse be someone else's bodyguard? Feng Shipian suddenly felt that this matter was absolutely impossible, because wasn't it too ridiculous? Which heaven stage, early stage expert doesn't cultivate well, and to earn money from being a bodyguard in the secular world? Even if he had to work for others, it would be to become a follower of a large clan and obtain some cultivation resources. At first, I also found it strange, but the other party said it so confidently. Then, Feng Tianlin told Feng Shipian everything that had happened. When Feng Shishou heard this, he also felt that it was a little strange. He didn't look like a swindler, but I still couldn't figure it out. This matter was probably not that reliable. According to what you said, even if this person is an early-stage heaven rank expert, he is only a loose cultivator. It is impossible for him to deal with an early-stage heaven rank expert from the Dongfang clan. You have to know that at the heaven rank level, the gap between practitioners is very obvious, especially between loose cultivators and practitioners from aristocratic families. You're right. Feng Tianlin couldn't help but frown. Indeed, Feng Shipian was right. How could the heaven stage experts of the secular world be the same as the heaven stage experts of the ancient sects? Not to mention the secular world. Even an ancient sect's heaven rank expert was different from a hidden aristocratic family's heaven rank expert. Thinking of this, Feng Tianlin, who had just heaved a sigh of relief, became nervous again. Then what should we do? Shipian, this is the only method I can think of now. It is not realistic to find a powerful heaven rank expert in a short period of time. I have a suitable candidate, but I'm not sure if he'll be willing to help. Feng Shipian hesitated for a moment before speaking. Although he was a little embarrassed to ask for help, he had no choice but to do so for the sake of his sister. Oh, who is it? Feng Tianlin quickly asked. Boss Lin Yi, Feng Shipian said. Lin Yi? Feng Tianlin was slightly stunned. Yes, if Boss Lin Yi can make a move, then killing that early-stage heaven rank expert in a second won't be a problem. Feng Shipian nodded and said with certainty, Boss Lin Yi could instantly kill a mid-stage heaven rank expert when he was at the peak late stage of Earth class. Now that he is at the early stage, dealing with an early-stage heaven rank expert won't be a problem. Shipian, can you invite Mr. Lin Yi? Feng Tianlin heard Feng Shipian's words and immediately realized that Lin Yi was the most suitable candidate. A normal early-stage heaven rank expert was definitely not a match for the Dongfang family's early-stage heaven rank expert, but Lin Yi could instantly kill them. Even a higher-level heaven rank expert wouldn't be a problem for Lin Yi. If such a powerful person was invited, wouldn't Su Shirhan be safe? I'll try, but I don't have full confidence. Feng Shipian hesitated for a moment and said, Okay, then immediately call Mr. Lin Yi. As for the reward, we will not miss a single cent. If he has any conditions, just say it. Feng Tianlin quickly said, I'll call him now. Feng Shipian nodded and took the phone from Feng Tianlin. He dialed Lin Yi's number, but Lin Yi's line was busy. At this moment, Lin Yi was receiving a call from Old Lin. Little E, I received a mission for you. Old Lin's voice sounded from the other side of the phone. Oh, what mission? Old Lin's random words made Lin E, who had just picked up the phone, startled. He didn't know what Old Lin was talking about. I say, old man, what are you talking about? Little E, didn't you ask me to help you get a mission? Do you want to earn money? Old Lin asked in return. Could it be that you don't lack money now? I do. What mission? Lin E suddenly remembered that he did ask Old Lin to help him get a mission. It was just that Lin E had been at ease for too long and didn't realize it. Chapter 3062. Bodyguard. Lin E frowned slightly. This is a long-term mission. Although the reward is quite high, aren't there any short-term assassination missions? Although it seems that I don't have any enemies for the time being, I'm still worried about leaving the East Ocean Mansion for a long time. Don't worry, I've already considered this for you. The other party's mission requirements are very simple. They only require the bodyguard to be a Heaven Stage Master, and the target to be protected can accommodate the bodyguard and follow the bodyguard to the bodyguard city. This way, you don't have to leave East Ocean City and can directly complete the mission here. Old Lin explained. Oh, there's such a good thing? Lin, he was a little surprised. However, since the other party requires the bodyguard to be a Heaven Stage Master, the target to be protected must not be simple, right? This mission shouldn't be that easy to complete, right? The enemy that I have to deal with is probably not weak, right? I'm not sure about this. I'll tell you the other party's phone number, and you can discuss the details with him. Old Lin said. Moreover, in addition to a fixed monthly salary, you can also ask for some cultivation resources from him. The other party agreed without hesitation. I guess the identity of the other party is not simple. Okay, I got it, old man. Send me his phone number. Lin nodded. Although this mission was definitely not simple, Lin was in need of money. This mission was very suitable. He didn't have to leave East Ocean City to complete the mission, so why not? Lin hung up the phone and waited for Old Lin's text. However, during this time, Lin Yi's phone rang again. Lin thought it was still Old Lin calling. However, when he looked at the caller ID, it was actually an unfamiliar number. Hello? Hello? Lin picked up the phone politely because he didn't know the person on the other side. Boss, it's me. I'm Feng Shipian. On the other side of the phone, a voice that Lin was familiar with came. This call was naturally from Feng Shipian. Previously, Lin Yi's phone didn't go through. He dialed again and again until Lin E and Old Lin ended the call. The first thing he did was to call Lin E. Poems. Lin E was slightly surprised by Feng Shipian's call. In his opinion, after Feng Shipian went back, it would be difficult to contact him. Long time no see. How have you been? Boss, I'm calling this time because I need your help with something. After saying this, Qin Feng's face darkened. Even Feng Shipian himself felt a little embarrassed. He hadn't contacted Lin E for a long time. As soon as he contacted her, he wanted to ask for Lin Yi's help. This made Feng Shipian a little embarrassed. What is it? Tell me. Lin E was straightforward. Lin E had always treated these little brothers very well. Lin E was straightforward. This made Feng Shipian even more embarrassed. However, Feng Shipian had no choice. If he didn't ask Lin E, he really didn't know who to ask. He could only bite the bullet and said, Boss Lin, it's like this. I want to ask you to protect someone's safety. What? Ask me to protect someone's safety? Lin E was stunned. Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? Old man Lin had just accepted a mission to be his bodyguard, and Feng Shipian came to ask for his help. If it were any other time, Lin E would naturally agree. However, now that Lin E had accepted the mission, how could Lin E agree? Therefore, Lin E was in a dilemma. He wanted to refuse, but it wasn't good for him to refuse. Boss, don't worry. The reward will not be a penny less. Feng Shipian heard Lin Yi's shocked tone and quickly added, Shipian, it's not that I don't want to promise you, but I have other things to do. I have to protect someone else's safety. I'm afraid I can't promise you. Lin Yi said with a bitter smile. This is a coincidence, I see. Feng Shipian was a little disappointed, but he didn't force it. Since Lin said that he had something to do and had to protect someone else, what else could Feng Shipian say? He could only say, "It doesn't matter. I'll think of another way." "Boss, you go ahead, okay?" Lin also said apologetically, "There's really no other way this time." After hanging up the phone, Feng Shipian smiled bitterly and conveyed Lin Yi's words to Feng Tianlin. After Feng Tianlin heard it, he was also a little disappointed. He didn't understand Lin Yi, so he said to Feng Shipian, "Shipian, maybe Mr. Lin, he didn't want to help, so he found an excuse. How can there be such a coincidence?" "Dad, you don't understand Lin Yi, boss. Boss Lin, he must have something to do. It's not what you think." Feng Shipian understood Lin Yi, so he defended Lin Yi. "Forget it. Let's put our hopes on my bodyguard." Feng Tianlin smiled noncommittally, but he didn't argue with Feng Shipian. Feng Shipian still wanted to explain something, but at this moment, Feng Tianlin's phone rang again. Lin Yi didn't lie to Feng Shipian. Old man Lin gave him the task, and he had to execute it. Otherwise, it would affect Old man Lin's credibility as a manager. This task was actually posted by Feng Tianlin himself. It was just that Lin Yi didn't know about it, and neither did Feng Tianlin and Feng Shipian. However, because the phone number that Feng Tianlin gave Old Man Lin was not the same phone number that Feng Shipian used just now, Lin Yi didn't realize that these two people were the same person. He still followed the agreement and dialed Feng Tianlin's number to discuss the specific details of the task. "Hello." Feng Tianlin didn't know Lin Yi's number, so he picked up the phone without thinking much. "Is this Mr. Su?" Lin Yi asked politely. "It's me." "You are." Feng Tianlin also guessed that the person who called was most likely the bodyguard he found on the Task Commission website. "I'm the bodyguard you were looking for," Lin Yi said. "Now, I want to confirm the specific details." "Okay, Mr. Bodyguard, please speak." Feng Tianlin didn't know Lin Yi's surname, so he could only call him Mr. Bodyguard. "First of all, I want to confirm the gender, age, occupation, and lifestyle of the person to be protected," Lin Yi asked. "Since it is a cooperation, then I won't hide it from you." Feng Tianlin said, "The person you need to protect is a girl. She is 20 years old this year, and she is a celebrity." Chapter 3063. I will ask her to cancel it as much as possible. If she really can't cancel it, I will discuss with you in advance. What do you think? Feng Tianlin asked. To be honest, Lin Yi didn't want to be a celebrity's bodyguard. If she was a celebrity, she couldn't live in his villa. After all, she was a public figure. Whether she was willing to live with him or not was another matter. Moreover, Lin Yi had to follow the celebrity around for activities. However, the employer said that he could ask the celebrity to cancel the activities as much as possible. It seemed that she wasn't a big celebrity. It shouldn't be a problem for them to live together. Thus, he said, "For the safety of the protected, I hope she can live with me. Can you do this?" Live together, Feng Tianlin wasn't afraid of anything else. He was just afraid that Lin Yi would steal what he was guarding. His daughter was a big celebrity. An old moat that leads to the latent locust tree, denouncing the frequent coaxing of the common people. Where can one go to reason? The other party was a heaven-class master. It's for the convenience of protecting her. After all, if she doesn't live here, I'll have to live with her. It's just a matter of getting used to it. Lin Yi didn't know about Feng Tianlin's concerns. He thought that Feng Tianlin wasn't used to it. After all, Lin Yi didn't even know what the celebrity looked like. Maybe she was ugly. Lin Yi knew that some celebrities were even worse than ordinary people after removing their makeup. So, Lin Yi didn't have that kind of thought at all. This is true. Feng Tianlin thought about it carefully. It was true. He found a bodyguard for Su Shihan. If they didn't stay together at night, how could the Dongfang family protect his daughter? Thinking of this, Feng Tianlin nodded and said, "That's fine. But is there anyone else at your place? I'm afraid my daughter won't be used to it." Yes. Lin Yi was a little impatient. He accepted this task. It was just that he lacked money. But he was a heaven-class master. He still had some temper. "Mr. Su, since you want a heaven-class master, you should be considered as someone in the cultivation world. Don't you think that it's good enough that I'm protecting your daughter? What is there to be picky about? This. Feng Tianlin smiled bitterly. Indeed, the person he hired wasn't an ordinary bodyguard, but a heaven-ranked master. He couldn't treat him like a normal bodyguard. Thinking of this, Feng Tianlin quickly apologized. I'm sorry, Mr. Bodyguard. I'm just thinking for my daughter. Please forgive me. All right, you can let your daughter or someone close to her contact me directly, Lin Yi said. All right, how should I address you, sir? Feng Tianlin asked. Ling Yi, this is my phone number. You should be able to see it. Lin Yi didn't leave his real name. This was the name Lin Yi used when doing missions. Therefore, Lin Yi still used it out of habit. All right, Mr. Ling Yi. Feng Tianlin nodded and hung up the phone. Ling Yi? Feng Shipian was taken aback. Why did this name sound so familiar? Dad, let me have a look at your phone. Oh, what's wrong? Feng Tianlin handed the phone to Feng Shipian. Feng Shipian glanced at the number on Feng Tianlin's phone and suddenly exclaimed, Really? Really? Boss? What boss? Feng Tianlin was a bit confused, but he immediately reacted, Shipian. You mean the person who called is Lin Yi? Yes, this number is Boss Lin Yi's, and Ling Yi is also the name that Boss used before. Feng Shipian said excitedly. You see, Boss does have something to do, but I never thought that he would actually accept a mission as a bodyguard. Feng Tianlin was also very surprised. He didn't think that the bodyguard he hired was actually Lin Yi. This Lin Yi wasn't an ordinary heaven-ranked master in the early stage. This was something that could be used by a heaven-ranked master in the middle stage. This time, even if the Dongfang family sent a heaven-ranked master, Feng Tianlin wouldn't be afraid. I really didn't expect this. Is Lin Yi short of money? Feng Tianlin asked curiously. Short of money, right? Feng Shipian suddenly thought of the news that he had received from Guxian before. After returning to the Feng family, although he didn't contact Lin Yi, he had been paying attention to Lin Yi. He also knew that Lin Yi's medical company had gone bankrupt. If Lin Yi was short of money, it was true. Therefore, Feng Shipian told Feng Tianlin about this matter. AI, if that's the case, it stands to reason that I should give him more money, but my private money is only more than 300 million yuan, which is only enough to hire him for 2 months. Feng Tianlin smiled bitterly. I want to give more, but I don't have the money. I understand. Let's try our best. However, I really didn't expect that with Boss's help, Sister Shirhan will definitely be fine. Feng Shipian breathed a sigh of relief. However, at the same time, he suddenly became nervous. No, Dad, if Boss Lin Yi kills the people sent by the Dongfang family for Sister Shirhan, wouldn't he offend the Dongfang family? This. Feng Tianlin's expression also changed slightly, and he said, I didn't think about this before. After all, the duty of a bodyguard is to take money and eliminate disasters for others. We have paid the price. Even if the bodyguard is hated because of the Dongfang family, it has nothing to do with us. If you don't have a diamond, don't do porcelain work. This is also the rule. However, this person is Lin Yi now. If you don't make it clear, there will definitely be a gap in the future. So, Shipian, if you want to tell Lin Yi, just say it. I support you. Dad, thank you. Feng Shipian said with some emotion. Since Feng Tianlin said so, it meant that he was prepared for Lin Yi to not do it at any time. However, Feng Shipian knew Lin Yi's character. But Dad, don't worry. I know Boss's character. If the person being protected is my sister, Boss will only do his best. Even if he doesn't get paid, he will do it. Okay, then you call. Feng Tianlin said. Feng Shipian picked up the phone and dialed Lin Yi's number again. But this time, he used the number that Feng Tianlin had contacted Lin Yi before. Mr. Su, is there anything else? Lin Yi saw the caller ID on the mobile phone and picked up the phone. He thought that Feng Tianlin had forgotten to tell him something. Boss, it's me. Feng Shipian said quickly after hearing Lin Yi's voice. Chapter 3064. Boss, the person who called you just now was my father. Feng Shipian said weakly. The person he asked you to protect is the same person I want you to protect. Huffed. No way. What a coincidence. Lin Yi felt that this was too much of a coincidence. He had just left the mountain to accept a mission, and it was actually to protect Feng Shipian's family. Yeah, I was wondering why you suddenly went to protect others. So it was for this mission, Feng Shipian said. Since it's one of us, I don't need money. Just give me some cultivation resources. Although Lin Yi was short on money, he couldn't ask for a reward for protecting Feng Shipian's family. That's fine too. Feng Shipian didn't refuse. My father has 350 million yuan. Boss, you can use it. It's not a reward. As your younger brother, I'm sponsoring you. I've heard about your company, and I'm doing my best to help you. Feng Shipian nodded and said, Boss, I'm just doing my best to help you. All right, it would be impolite of me to refuse. Since Feng Shipian said so, Lin Yi nodded and agreed. All right, boss, I'm calling to remind you that the people who are causing trouble for my sister are from the ancient Dongfang family. Feng Shipian said. The other party's background is very tyrannical. It's fine if you refuse, boss. After all, I don't want you to get into trouble. Ancient Dongfang family. Lin Yi's heart moved, but he still said indifferently. Ancient level. It doesn't matter. I'm already a heaven rank expert, so sooner or later, I'll set foot on the ancient level. I'll take a look at the Dongfang family first. If it had been any other family, Lin Yi would have helped. However, he was afraid that Feng Shipian would also keep his identity a secret. He didn't want to become enemies with an ancient sect because of this. At the very least, he represented the ancient Feng family and hid his identity. However, the ancient Dongfang family already had enmity with Lin Yi. The death of the Dongfang elder will be traced back to Lin Yi sooner or later. Therefore, it was no longer important whether Lin Yi went against them or not. Even if Lin Yi killed a few more people from the Dongfang family, it would only make the enmity greater. If he didn't kill Elder Dongfang, the Dongfang clan wouldn't let Lin Yi off easily after learning of Elder Dongfang's death. Boss, have you made up your mind? Feng Shipian was taken aback. He didn't know what Lin Yi was thinking. He thought that Lin Yi did this for him. Of course I have. Lin Yi smiled and said, All right, I got it. Tell your sister to contact me. It's my sister. Feng Shipian said, By the way, my father hid his surname before. Boss, don't be angry. I also hid it. It's normal to do this when we're not familiar with each other. Lin Yi said indifferently. All right, boss, I'll tell my father to contact my sister now. Feng Shipian felt a lot more relaxed after settling this matter, especially after Lin Yi said it. He wanted to step into the ancient realm, and going against the Dongfang clan wouldn't bring him any trouble. How is it? After Feng Shipian hung up the phone, Feng Tianlin hurriedly asked. Boss agreed. Moreover, he also knows about the Dongfang clan. However, Boss isn't worried. He also wants to use the Dongfang clan to experience the ancient realm. Feng Shipian said. Feng Tianlin nodded and said with a sigh, I have to say Lin Yi's growth this year is too fast from nothing to something. Even the noble houses and hidden houses can't stop his footsteps. I'm guessing that the ancient level is going to be another bloodbath. It's a good thing that you've established a relationship with Lin Yi early on. Perhaps Lin Yi will be the last straw that can save us father and son. Feng Tianlin didn't really like Lin Yi at first. So when Feng Shipian returned to the clan, he thought that Feng Shipian was too impulsive to recognize a common world wandering cultivator as his boss. However, after paying attention to him for a while, Feng Tianlin realized what kind of person Lin Yi was. A wandering cultivator destroyed a hidden house without batting an eyelid. What kind of methods and courage was this? Plus, Lin Yi was now the enemy of the everyday sect, but he was unharmed. What did this mean? All of this meant that Lin Yi had extraordinary abilities. So letting him be Su Shihan's bodyguard was a wise decision. Dad, it's great that you support me. Feng Shipian breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Feng Tianlin didn't object to him calling him boss. This made him very happy. Of course not. Feng Tianlin smiled and said, I'll call Feng Sanwang now and arrange it. Master. Feng Sanwang saw Feng Tianlin's phone and quickly found a place with no one around. He picked up the phone and said quietly, Is there anything I can do for you? Sanwang, how is Xiaohan recently? Feng Tianlin asked. Master, Miss has been very safe recently. There's no danger, but because of the attack last time, Miss has been very low-key. She didn't go to other cities to participate in activities, Feng San Huang said. In fact, it wasn't because Su Shirhan had been low-key. The main reason was that Feng Nitian was crippled. Feng Tianhu didn't have the mood to deal with Su Shirhan anymore. He had been focusing on Feng Nitian for a while. Now that Nitian was dead, he started to deal with Su Shirhan again. But San Wang, there's going to be a big danger soon. Feng Tianlin said to him, House Dongfang is preparing to deal with Xiaohan. That Dongfang is not weak. He likes Xiaohan and wants to. And they sent an early phase Sky class master to deal with you. What? Early phase Sky class master? Feng Sanwang was shocked. He didn't think that Feng Tianhu would be able to send a Sky class master to deal with him and Su Shirhan. Could it be that there was a change in House Feng? Had Feng Tianhu taken over as the head of the house? Could it be that Feng Tianhu joined hands with House Dongfang? That can't be right. Second mistress should be on master's side. Feng Sanwang only knew a few things about the Feng family on the surface. As for the specifics of what had happened recently, he didn't know. You don't need to know about these things. Feng Tianhu didn't take over the position. That's why House Dongfang made their move. Feng Tianlin naturally couldn't explain that it was Dongfang Xiaozui's fault. Chapter 3065. He didn't know what to do. After all, a Heaven-class early-phase master wasn't someone he could easily deal with. So when Sanwang heard about a Heaven-class early-phase master, he was a bit dumbfounded. Sanwang, don't worry. Shirhan has already found a bodyguard for Shirhan. It's a Heaven-class early-phase master. Feng Tianlin said, You just need to think of a reason to make Shirhan accept this new bodyguard. Okay, I can do that easily. These years, Sanwang had been by Shirhan's side, and he was deeply trusted by her, but he was still a bit worried. Master, they are both Heaven-class early-phase masters. Can they be a match for Dongfang family? This isn't a normal Heaven-class early phase. It's a Heaven-class early phase master who can fight above his level. Hee. You'll know when you see him. Feng Tianlin smiled and said, I'll send you his phone number. You can contact him directly. What? Can fight above his level? Which ancient sect's disciple is this? Feng Sanwang was a little surprised. These kinds of masters weren't normal masters. They were usually important targets of the ancient sects or families. Just like Feng Nitian of House Feng, they were all people who could fight above their level. But how could this kind of person be a bodyguard for Shirhan? They were all extremely arrogant masters. Hee, you'll know when the time comes. Feng Tianlin didn't say much. But you have to go to the city he's in and live with him. This is also the master's request. Feng Tianlin told Sanwang about some of Lin Yi's requests and the things to pay attention to. Okay. Although Feng Sanwang was puzzled, he could only nod. Not long after hanging up, Sanwang received a text from Feng Tianlin. It was a phone number, and the owner was called Ling. After getting the number, Feng Sanwang went to see Su Shirhan. Feng bro, what's up? Shirhan saw Sanwang walking over and asked. Under normal circumstances, Sanwang, as a bodyguard and driver, rarely took the initiative to talk to her. Wang Sis was in charge of the work. Miss Su, I've received news that the people who attacked you before will probably attack you again soon. Feng Sanwang said seriously to Su Shirhan. So, for your safety, I want to find my friend to be responsible for your safety. Those people still want to fight? Su Shirhan was shocked. She had been keeping a low profile recently, but nothing happened during this time. She thought that the matter was over, but she didn't expect that those people still wanted to make a move. Yes, the information should be accurate. Feng Sanwang nodded. Sure, as for the salary, you can just tell Wang Sis. It's better to have an extra bodyguard. Shirhan didn't doubt Feng Sanwang's words and chose to believe him. However, my friend has other things to do. Can we go to his city and live for a while? Feng Sanwang asked. We still have to go to his city. Su Shirhan paused. It wasn't that she didn't want to go, but going to a foreign city suddenly wouldn't be easy. That's for sure. If we ask him for help, we have to accommodate him, right? Feng Sanwang didn't say anything about the salary. In fact, he didn't know how much it was. From his perspective, it was already good enough for a heaven-class master to help. You're right. Shirhan didn't have the temper of those superstars. Hearing Feng San Wang's words, she nodded. However, the manager Wang Sis heard the conversation between Feng San Wang and Shirhan. She was a bit unhappy. Xiao Feng, can't you protect Miss Su? Who else do we need to look for? If she goes to another city, how are we going to do our work? Miss Su is going to release her album in the first half of next year. If she goes to a small city without a recording studio, how are we going to make an album? Wang Sis, listen to Feng Bro. Shirhan shook her head. Only she knew how vicious those people were. That time in the dark alley, if it wasn't for Lin Yi, she would have died there. Feng San Wang never said anything he wasn't sure of. Since he said he wanted help, it meant that he didn't have absolute confidence. So Shirhan wouldn't argue with him on this matter. Oh, Wang Sis was a bit unwilling. She didn't know how dangerous it was, but Shirhan insisted, so she could only give up. Feng San Wang, on the other hand, directly called Ling. Hello, is this Mr. Ling Yi? I'm the bodyguard of the person being protected. May I know which city you're in? Feng San Wang asked politely. The person with a heaven-class master. It's me. I'm in Donghai City. When you guys arrive at Donghai Airport, I can pick you up. Lin Yi said. Since this was Feng Shirshan's sister, Lin Yi was naturally more friendly. Okay, we'll take today's flight. We'll arrive at Donghai Airport at night. Feng San Wang said. We're VIP members of the airline. We have a special green channel. You can just wait for us at the exit. I'll book the ticket and tell you the exact time. No problem. Lin Yi nodded. After the call, Lin Yi called Meng Yao and Yushu down. Chill, bro, it's the weekend. Why did you call us so early in the morning? What's the matter? Yushu yawned as she came down. Meng Yao was a little puzzled as well. What did Lin Yi want to call them up on a weekend morning? Yao, Shu, I called you this time because I have something important to tell you. Now that he'd confirmed the mission, it was about time to tell them the specifics of the mission. After all, the celebrity they were protecting had to stay at home as well. Oh, what is it? Yushu was curious. Meng Yao didn't ask, but she opened her eyes wide and looked at Lin Yi, waiting for him to say something. It's like this. I'm short on money recently. You guys know that, so I accepted a bodyguard mission. I'm in charge of protecting someone. Lin Yi said straightforwardly. Bodyguard mission? Shu paused. Is it to protect a man or a girl? It's a girl, a celebrity, Lin Yi said. Chapter 3066. But after saying this, she blushed. Why did she stop him? What was she afraid of? Was she afraid that the new girl Lin Yi was protecting would fall in love with Lin Yi? HM? No. How could it be? She didn't fall in love with Lin Yi. What I mean is, you have to protect me and Shu. How can you protect other people? Meng Yao saw that Lin Yi and Shu were looking at her strangely, so she blushed and tried to explain. But Shield Bro's mission's already over. Are you afraid that someone else is going to steal your misposition in Shield Bro's heart? Yao? Yushu, on the other hand, knew Meng Yao very well. How? How is that possible? It's just that the final exams are coming. Shield Bro shouldn't go far, right? And it's New Year in a month. Meng Yao was still explaining incoherently. It's okay. I'll let them move to the villa. I won't go far. Lin Yi said, plus my follower Feng Shirshan asked me to help with this mission. I can't refuse. I see. All right then. Meng Yao thought that it'd be fine if he moved into the villa, since he'd be under her and Shu's watchful eyes. You shouldn't be able to do anything with that superstar, right? One had to know that she didn't even need to do anything. Shu could turn the world upside down. Back then, Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao were speechless because of Shu, weren't they? Then I'll go prepare 2 rooms on the first floor, then I'll pick them up. Lin Yi nodded and went to prepare the rooms. Grandma's son had already left. Housework. In other words, everyone did it together. After Lin Yi left, Yushu said, Yao sis, don't worry. Isn't she just a small star? She can't threaten Yao sis' position. If she has any perverted thoughts towards Shield Bro, Shu will let her know who's the big wife in this villa. Besides, Shield Bro has seen Shirhan sis before. How could an ordinary little celebrity catch his eye? Why would I worry about that? I'm just worried that the celebrity won't be easy to get along with. Meng Yao naturally wouldn't admit it, but thinking about it, Lin Yi had seen Su Shirhan before. If he wanted to hit on someone, it would be Su Shirhan. Why would he be interested in a small celebrity? Thinking of this, he felt much more at ease. It doesn't matter. She lives in our territory, so she has to follow our rules. She must be begging Shield Bro to be her bodyguard. If she's not willing, she can just leave. Yushu said. After Lin Yi tidied up the room, it was almost time. He drove to Donghai Airport. Feng Sanwang bought a plane ticket at noon, so he could arrive in the afternoon. Since there was danger, they had to meet up with Lin Yi as soon as possible to ensure Su Shirhan's safety. Donghai Airport's VIP lounge, although this lounge was exclusively for VIPs. The people who came here to pick up the people who came down from the VIP passage, but there were quite a lot of people here. The seats were almost full. Lin Yi looked around and found a good seat near the window. It was a big sofa, and no one was sitting there. He walked over and sat down, picking up a magazine and reading it. Lin Yi didn't bother with pleasantries as he walked over and sat down. The plane would arrive in half an hour, so Lin Yi arrived a little earlier. However, Lin Yi hadn't been reading the magazine for long when an extremely arrogant voice came from behind him, giving him a big fright. "Motherfucker, who let you sit here? Don't you know this is young Master Jun's exclusive seat?" The voice came from behind Lin Yi. It wasn't that Lin Yi didn't notice the person behind him, but there were quite a lot of people coming to pick up the plane. As long as they didn't come to attack Lin Yi wouldn't care what they were doing. Lin Yi frowned. Was there a special seat for this type of seat? But when he looked down, there didn't seem to be anything special about his spot other than the better lighting and the fact that it was a comfortable sofa. "What are you looking at? Aren't you going to give up your seat to young Master Jun?" The voice saw Lin Yi lowering his head, but he was a little impatient. If this seat was really dedicated, Lin Yi would give it to him. After all, although Lin Yi was strong, he wasn't willing to bully these ordinary people because of some small things. Lin Yi's eyes were now filled with cultivators. However, this seat wasn't dedicated at all. It wasn't marked at all. Lin Yi was a little unhappy. He stood up, turned his head, and looked at the person who scolded him. This was a man in black. However, what surprised Lin was that although Lin Yi couldn't see through this person's strength, he should be a master without a doubt. "This seat, where is it written that it's yours?" Lin Yi asked faintly. Although the person was a master, it was only relative to ordinary people. Lin Yi didn't put in his eyes. The man in black didn't answer Lin Yi's question. It seemed that he didn't put Lin Yi in his eyes at all. He reached out his hand and pushed towards Lin Yi, wanting to push Lin Yi to the side. He didn't even want to explain. However, what surprised him was that Lin Yi didn't move an inch under his push. "You?" The master jumped in fright. He knew how strong he was. He pushed Lin Yi, but it didn't budge at all. He immediately increased the strength of his hand, using all of his mystic late phase peak physical strength. However, he thought that this time, he would definitely push Lin Yi away. What surprised him was that Lin Yi didn't move an inch. He was still standing in the same spot. Slap! Lin Yi slapped the Mystic Class Master, sending him flying out of the room. Boom! With a loud sound, the master fell to the ground. The corner of his mouth was full of blood, and his teeth fell out. However, he didn't know the pain because he had already fainted. "Move! Move!" After the master was slapped away by Lin Yi, there was a sudden noise at the door of the resting room. A pale-faced young man, under the escort of a few men in black, walked into the resting room. But when they saw the Mystic Division Master lying motionless on the ground with blood all over his mouth, they were completely stunned. A black-robed man ran over quickly. "Junior brother, what happened to you? Who hurt you?" Lin Yi frowned. Since when did Donghai City have so many masters? Chapter 3067. The one just now was a physical master, and the one in front of him was most likely one too. When a physical master didn't show his strength, Lin Yi's golden finger was useless. However, what shocked Lin Yi the most was that the pale young man protected by the men in black was Lin Yi's old acquaintance, Jun Ingjun. He was young Master Jun. When Lin Yi and Ma Zhu died together, his meridians were broken, so Lin Yi didn't chase after Zhendazhou and Jun Ingjun, who ran back to Donghai City. At that time, Lin Yi wasn't a match for the Jinzhong clan. Later on, the Jinzhong clan was about to be annihilated by Lin Yi, and Lin Yi naturally wouldn't care about House Zhen of Donghai. However, after a while, Zhun Ingjun seemed to have become even more powerful. There were so many masters around him all of a sudden. Although they weren't the most powerful masters, they were only in Lin Yi's eyes. The peak of the late phase of Mystic Division was already a very powerful existence in the mortal world. Of course, this wasn't what surprised Lin Yi the most. What surprised Lin Yi the most was that the man in black that he slapped didn't die. He only lost a tooth, but his life wasn't in danger. Although Lin Yi didn't use any martial arts, Lin Yi didn't hold back after knowing that the man was a cultivator and slapped him with the strength of the early phase of Heaven class. Yet, he didn't die from Lin Yi's slap. He was only a master at the peak of the late phase of Mystic Division, 2 ranks lower than Lin Yi. Yet he didn't die? Wasn't this person too strange? Could it be that he was from the Jinzhong clan? But the Jinzhong clan was about to be annihilated. Where would they send so many masters? Did you hurt my junior brother? The man in black checked the Mystic class master who was injured by Lin Yi on the ground. After confirming that his life wasn't in danger, he stood up and looked at Lin Yi with determination. But he didn't let his guard down. A person who could injure his junior brother was definitely not a simple character. Who are you? Why did you hurt him? Jun, I didn't think we'd meet again. Lin Yi ignored the man in black. Although their defensive abilities were very strong, Lin Yi didn't put them in his eyes. With the strength of their bodies, they simply couldn't withstand Lin Yi's martial skills. Moreover, he didn't even need the powerful Frenzy Fire 8 trigrams palm. Just the 10th form of the Frenzy Fire Fist was enough to take their lives. Of course, in the eyes of other cultivators, this was also a very powerful existence. The 10th form of Frenzy Fist was a skill that only an Earth-class late phase peak could use. Using an Earth-class late phase peak martial skill to kill a Mystic late phase peak master? What a joke. This was also the reason why these men in black were so arrogant. Lin Yi. Zhun Ingjun's breathing quickened, and his pale face turned even paler. He was terrified of what happened just now. He thought that he had the support of a powerful force after returning to East Ocean City and returning to his own territory. He could look down on everything, but when he stood in front of Lin Yi, his legs couldn't help but cramp. Kill him, this kid is a bad guy. He can't be left alive. Zhun Ingjun's words caused the man in black and the other 2 men in black to surround Lin Yi at the same time. Kid, I don't care which sect you are from. You will all die today. Master Jun has spoken. You won't be able to live. The first man in black said coldly to Lin Yi. Lin Yi ignored him before. This made him very angry. So after Zhun Ingjun gave the order, he prepared to kill Lin Yi. Clear the area, clear the area. The Flintlock squad is working here. Those who have no business here can leave. Other than the 4 men in black, there were a few bodyguards behind Zhun Ingjun with bulging waists. It was obvious that they had guns. When they called out the firearm team's name, everyone's expressions changed. They all stood up and looked at Lin Yi pitifully before quickly leaving. Which sect are you from? Golden Bell sect? Lin Yi didn't answer the man in black's question, but asked back. Golden Bell clan? The man in black heard Lin Yi's words and humphed coldly. Golden Bell clan isn't even worthy of helping us. Judging from your level, you're just a hidden sect. Our sect will scare you to death. Scare me to death? Lin Yi froze. Were these people from the ancient sect? That Jin family was really impressive to actually establish a connection with the ancient era. Let me tell you, we're from Ironclaw clan. Are you scared now? The man in black reported his clan and looked at Lin Yi mockingly, waiting for Lin Yi to piss his pants. Ironclaw clan? Lin Yi asked back. I've never heard of it. You. Black-clothed man number 2 was furious. Lin Yi's words were insulting their existence, making him furious. Kid, you're asking for it. You don't have to be angry. Lin Yi is only at the level of a common noble house. He doesn't even know how many hidden noble houses there are. How would he know how powerful the ancient sect is? Zheng Jun calmed down and waved his hand. Don't talk nonsense with him. Just kill him. From his point of view, it was useless no matter how powerful Lin Yi was. Now that he had the support of the ancient sect and the famous Iron Cloak clan, he wasn't afraid of Lin Yi anymore. Zheng Jun, you still owe me money, right? Where's the 250 million you owe me last time? I'm in need of money recently. Return it to me, and I'll forget about what happened today. It's not easy for your men to cultivate until now. I won't kill them. Lin Yi turned to Zheng Jun and said, You're a coward. Zheng Jun sneered. Lin Yi, you don't need to hide the fear in your heart. I know you're scared. That's why you're acting cool. Don't think that I don't know. I know this very well. You must die today. All of you go. Don't talk nonsense with him. Just kill him. Yes, Master Jun. The men in black from Iron Cloak clan nodded, and Black Cloak one punched at Lin Yi. Lin Yi frowned slightly. To be honest, he didn't want to become enemies with Iron Cloak clan. After all, Lin Yi already had enmity with Dark Palace, Everyday Sect, Blood Cloak Underworld Sect, and the ancient Dongfang clan. There were only a few ancient sects, and Lin Yi offended 4 of them at once. There was also the Heavenly Elixir sect, whose attitude was unclear. Lin Yi really didn't want to become enemies with Iron Cloak clan. Chapter 3068. What was the relationship between them? One had to know that Zheng Jun was also very respectful in front of Ma Zhu, but these people from Iron Cloak faction became his hired thugs. How strange. Iron Cloak faction, don't do anything. I don't want to kill you. My only enemy is Zheng Jun, Lin Yi said to Black Cloak number 1 and the others. However, the more Lin Yi acted like this, the more Iron Cloak faction thought that Lin Yi was scared and was trying to scare them. Therefore, Black Cloak number 1 didn't stop and punched towards Lin Yi. Lin Yi sighed slightly. He had no choice but to attack. However, Lin Yi still held back. Although he revealed the strength of an early phase of Heaven class, he still used the 8th form of Frenzy Fist. He could only heavily injure Black Cloak number 1, but he couldn't kill him. He hoped that he would be merciful and stop Iron Cloak faction from causing trouble. Otherwise, Lin Yi would have to kill them next time. Although Lin Yi wasn't afraid of trouble, it was better to avoid unnecessary trouble. Boom, 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 boom. Lin Yi didn't make a move, but when he did, it was clean and neat. In just an instant, the 4 black-clothed men, including Black Cloak number 1, were directly sent flying by Lin Yi. Black Shirt 1 was obviously the strongest among them, having reached the peak of the early phase of Earth class. Although the others had fainted, he didn't faint even though he was injured. He only looked at Lin Yi in shock and spat out 4 words, Sky class. Black Cloak number 1 knew that he kicked an iron plate. Lin Yi was so young and was already in early phase of Heaven class. He couldn't be a nobody, nor could he be cultivated by a small family. There must be a bigger force behind him. He said that he hadn't heard of Iron Cloak faction. Maybe he looked down on them. What? Zheng Jun wasn't as clueless as before. He knew what it meant to be a Heaven class master. How could Lin Yi be a Heaven stage expert? This was completely unrealistic. Back then, he had to go all out against Ma Zhu, and in the end, both of them were heavily injured. But now, when he made his move, he didn't even see it clearly, and all his bodyguards were already lying on the ground. Even the weakest of them, Black Shirt number 1, who was at the peak of early phase of Earth rank, wasn't a match for him. Zheng Jun, I told you that I don't want to fight, and I've warned you. If you want your men to die, then there's nothing I can do. Lin Yi tried his best to push the blame on Zheng Jun and let Tai Yi Sect get even with him. He walked towards Zheng Jun step by step. However, Lin Yi was wrong about Iron Cloak sect. They wouldn't do anything to Zheng Jun, at least not now. Don't come any closer. I'm telling you, although you've defeated them, I'm backed by the entire Ironcloth sect. If you dare to touch me, I'll make you suffer. Zheng Jun was the one who put up a strong front. He kept backing away. A Heaven stage expert, this was too shocking. Slap. Lin Yi slapped, Jin Ingjuan's face. His handsome face was once again slapped until his eyes and mouth were crooked. Iron Cloak sect? You also thought that Jinzhong Gate was powerful before, but what about now? Lin, he stood in front of Jun Ingjun indifferently. Dude, you can't kill me. Jun Ingjun was really scared and kept backing away. Lin, House Jun is powerful now, really powerful. Oh, even if you change your name to Jun Yo Bai, it has nothing to do with me. Slap. Another slap sounded. Lin Yi slapped the other side of Jun Ingjuan's face. Let me go. I'll do whatever you want. Jun Ingjun softened. He had no choice but to lower his head in front of Lin Yi. I can let you go. I just want to collect the debt from you. 250 million. When will you give it to me? Lin Yi asked. I've already returned 250 million to you. Can you give me less this time? How about 150 million? Jun Ingjun hesitated and said, What do you think? Slap. Another slap. Lin, he was getting impatient. Stop wasting time. If you have money, use it to buy your life. If you don't, then die. 150 million is fine. I'll cut off your arms, and it'll be 100 million. How about that? Then, okay. I'll transfer the money to you after I go back. Jun Ingjun rolled his eyes and thought that he should leave first. As long as he went back, Lin, he wouldn't be able to find him, and he could do whatever he wanted. Go back. Lin Yi naturally knew what Jun Ingjun was thinking. He sneered. Now immediately transfer the money. Otherwise, I don't mind turning you into them. Of course, there are cultivators and physical defense cultivators at that. They didn't die under my hands, but that's not necessarily the case for you. You might just die in an instant. But it's not bad. You don't have to pay me back anymore. Okay. Jun Ingjun took a deep breath and reminded himself that he had to lower his head when he was under someone else's roof. Just you wait and see. Then, Jun Ingjun took out his phone and said to Lin, Give me your account number. Lin Yi gave him an account number, and Jun Ingjun made a few calls to transfer the money to Lin Yi. He didn't dare to play any tricks as he knew how ruthless Lin Yi was. He had to get through this first, and he would have plenty of chances to deal with Lin Yi in the future. Moreover, Jun Ingjuan's house Jun had the support of Iron Cloth sect, and they were quite rich. Although 250 million wasn't a small amount, Jun Ingjun could still afford it. Not long after, Lin Yi received a notification on his phone. Lin Yi looked at the amount and nodded in satisfaction. Okay, you can leave now. Okay. Jun Ingjun gritted his teeth and looked at the bodyguards in white with guns on their waists. He ordered, What are you waiting for? Carry them on your back and come with me. Yes. Although the bodyguards in white had guns and looked powerful in front of outsiders, they were far from a cultivator. Although they didn't fall, they didn't dare to pull out their guns in front of Lin Yi, and Jun Ingjun didn't think about using them to turn the tables. Chapter 3069. After all, Lin Yi didn't kill the people from Tai Yi sect and Jun Ingjun, so Jin Dazhou and Tai Yi sect wouldn't be so desperate. After they went back, they would investigate his background again and decide if they should kill him or not. Of course, if Tai Yi sect didn't want to cause trouble, they wouldn't mind losing 250 million since no one died. He still wasn't strong enough. Lin Yi sighed. If he had absolute strength, these people wouldn't be able to walk out of here today. However, Lin Yi could only let them go for now in order to avoid too much trouble. However, it wasn't for nothing. At least, Lin Yi brought back 250 million. Fatty Lie's medical company had 250 million, in addition to the 350 million Feng Shishan gave him, so it shouldn't be a problem to keep it running. However, the money that House Lu mortgaged and Yu Xiaoka's orphanage wasn't enough. Lin Yi could only hope that the genius girl from House Lu could give him a surprise and restore House Lu's agency to its former glory. Jun Ingjun came and left quickly without a trace. The guests who were chased away returned to the resting room after seeing Jun Ingjun leave. However, their eyes were filled with respect when they looked at Lin Yi. It was rare to see someone who could defeat Jun Ingjuan's bodyguard and beat Jun Ingjun up. This little episode made Lin Yi earn 250 million. It seemed like there were benefits to coming to pick him up. A good person would be rewarded. Jun Ingjun left, and Su Shirhan's plane was about to land. The plane was on time, and when Lin Yi saw the flight number on the LCD screen, he put down the newspaper in his hand. Soon, the sound of footsteps came from the entrance of the lounge. Someone was getting off the plane, and there were also a few people in the lounge who stood up. They were probably here to pick up the passengers who were getting off the plane. Lin Yi looked at his phone. No one had called him yet, but he thought that when the person he was going to pick up got off the plane, they would call him. However, Lin Yi didn't see the main character, but saw a group of familiar faces coming out of the passageway. It was the superstar Su Shirhan, her bodyguard Feng San Wang, and her manager Wang Sis. These three people made Lin Yi slightly surprised. Did Su Shirhan come to East Ocean City to perform? But since he saw her, Lin Yi naturally had to greet her. No matter what, Su Shirhan was the company spokesperson, and she had a good relationship with Miss and the others. Young Han, Arid Triad, why are you here? Lin Yi was not familiar with Big Sis Wang, so he only nodded at her. Lin Yi. Su Shirhan didn't expect to bump into Lin Yi at the airport. She was wearing sunglasses, and this was the VIP exit. People who came out of this place were either rich or powerful. No one would be so nosy as to guess who she was. Plus, Lin Yi called her Young Han. Who would have thought that Su Shirhan was Young Han? Su Shirhan paused and looked at Feng San Wang awkwardly. She didn't know if she should tell Lin Yi about this. Was it a secret? Su Shirhan trusted Lin Yi in her heart. It was just that Feng San Wang didn't say anything, so she couldn't do anything. Feng San Wang was also surprised why Lin Yi was here. Last time Su Shirhan was in trouble, it was Lin Yi who saved her. Feng San Wang trusted Lin Yi a lot. It was just that there were outsiders in the lounge, so Feng San Wang couldn't say anything. Mr. Lin, long time no see. We did come here for some business, but can we talk in private? Talk outside? Sure, but I'm here to pick someone up. I need to call the person and tell him to wait for me outside. Lin Yi said and took out his phone. Perfect, someone is here to pick us up. I'll make a call too. Feng San Wang nodded and picked up his phone. However, Lin Yi realized that the number he dialed was busy. It was the same for Feng San Wang. The user was busy. Helplessly, Lin Yi put down the phone. He guessed that the other party was contacting him as well, so he waited for them to call back. San Wang, on the other hand, had the same thought. He hung up the phone and waited for Lin Yi's reply. The call didn't go through. Let's talk on the way, Lin Yi said to Feng San Wang. Sure. Feng San Wang nodded. He put down his phone and walked toward the door with Lin Yi. After leaving the VIP lounge, they came to the parking lot near the airport. Feng San Wang, Su Shirhan, and Wang Sis got on Lin Yi's car first. After they got in, Feng San Wang said, Mr. Lin, our trip this time is actually a secret. Even the people in the company don't know about it. Miss Su might be in trouble again. Oh, trouble again? The same group as last time? Lin Yi was dazed. This, more or less, but even more powerful. Feng San Wang didn't say much. After all, Feng Tianhu was the one who found them. Although last time it was the Feng family, and this time it was the Dongfang family, there was only one person. If that's the case, then it's a bit dangerous. What's your plan this time? Lin Yi asked. This time, I won't hide it from Mr. Lin. I have a friend here. I'm here to ask for his help to protect Miss Su's safety. Feng San Wang said. This was the excuse he gave to Su Shirhan. All right, I have something else to do during this period of time. If there's nothing else, I'll help you guys out. Lin Yi nodded. Mr. Lin, thank you for your kindness. But the enemy this time is a Sky-class early phase master. I'm afraid you don't have the confidence to deal with him. I don't either. Feng San Wang naturally didn't know that Lin Yi was already a Sky-class master. His impression was still the last time he met Lin Yi. Lin Yi's strength was still at the last time he met him. Sky-class early phase. Lin Yi heard Feng San Wang mention the enemy's strength. He only smiled faintly. Sky-class early phase. Lin Yi didn't care anymore. Right, Mr. Lin. We'll talk later. I need to call my friend first. Feng San Wang suddenly remembered that Lin Yi didn't reply to him. He quickly took out his phone and was ready to call back. Okay. Lin Yi nodded. Lin Yi also wanted to call his employer to ask if they had arrived. But because it was quiet in the car, It wasn't good for two people to call at the same time. So, Lenny decided to wait for Feng Sanhuang to finish his call. Chapter 3070. Lin Yi didn't think too much about it. He picked up the phone and saw that it was his employer, so Lin Yi couldn't reject the call. Even if Feng Sanhuang was on the phone, Lin Yi still picked up the phone. "Hello, I've arrived at the airport. Have you guys gotten off the plane?" After Lin Yi said this, he waited for the other party to respond, but the other party didn't say anything. Feng Sanhuang, on the other hand, had a shocked expression on his face. Because the call was connected, he heard Lin Yi's voice from the other side. However, he was also a little uncertain, so he hesitated for a moment and still said into the microphone, "Hello, is this Mr. Lin Yi?" This time, not only did Feng Sanhuang hear Lin Yi's voice, but Lin Yi also heard Feng Sanhuang's voice from the other side of the phone. Of course, even if Lin Yi didn't hear it, Feng Sanhuang's Mr. Lin Yi already represented a lot of problems. Lin Yi could immediately understand that the person he was waiting for was Feng Sanhuang, and the superstar he wanted to protect was Su Shihan. Both of them were stunned. Lin Yi put down the phone, and Feng Sanhuang also put down the phone. Lin Yi was a bit embarrassed, and Feng Sanhuang was also a bit embarrassed, but he was more worried about Su Shihan's thoughts. He told Su Shihan that he was asking for help from his friend, but in the end, Lin Yi was right in front of him, and he didn't even know that the person he was asking for help was Lin Yi. No matter how stupid Su Shihan was, she should be able to figure out the problem, right? "Mr. Feng, it's you?" Lin Yi smiled bitterly and reached out his hand. "Yes, it's me." Feng Sanhuang also smiled bitterly and said, "Mr. Lin Yi, why did you change your name to Ling Yi?" I'm just accepting a quest. I didn't think too much about it. It's an acquaintance among acquaintances." Lin Yi smiled wryly and said, "Back then, the poem told me. He asked me to protect his sister, but I thought his sister does not know me. I had told Mr. Feng that my name is Ling Yi, and Sure also knows my name. That's why I did not change my name. But I did not expect the person I am protecting is Miss Su. Brother Feng, are you hiding something from me?" Shihan looked at Feng Sanhuang. Of course, she didn't think that Feng Sanhuang would harm her. After all, the person Feng Sanhuang found was Lin Yi. Su Shihan knew what kind of person Lin Yi was. There was no way he would help Sanhuang harm people. Lin Yi also said that he was here to protect him, but Lin Yi wasn't Feng Sanhuang's friend at all. And Lin Yi even said that she was someone's sister. What was going on? Wasn't he an orphan? How could he have a brother? So, Su Shihan subconsciously thought that Feng Sanhuang was hiding something from her. And it was not a small matter. Needless to say, Shihan's guess was quite accurate. Because Feng Sanhuang was indeed hiding something. But without Feng Tianlin's permission, he didn't dare to tell Shihan. If Shihan knew the truth, if she knew that she had a father who didn't dare to acknowledge her, wouldn't she be unhappy? But Feng Sanhuang knew. It wasn't that Feng Tianlin didn't want to acknowledge her, but he couldn't. If he didn't acknowledge her now, there was already so much danger. If he really did acknowledge her, he didn't know how Feng Tianhu would make a fuss about it. So, Feng Sanhuang hesitated and looked at Lin Yi. Although the trouble was caused by him, it was Lin Yi who said it. It seemed that Lin Yi was not only close to Shihan, but also the young master Feng Shipian. So, it was better for Lin Yi to say it. At least, Feng Tianlin couldn't blame Feng Sanhuang. Seeing Feng Sanhuang's pleading eyes, Lin Yi paused. "What do you mean? Could it be that Shihan didn't know about this? But wasn't this arranged by Feng Shipian? He wouldn't tell his sister, no." Sister? Shihan's surname was Su. Feng Shipian's surname was Feng. Although Feng Tianlin said that his surname was Su, it was just a made-up surname. Maybe he meant to represent Shihan. But there might really be a problem here. It was just that Lin Yi didn't know how much Shihan knew, so he could only test her. "I was asked by your father and brother to protect you." But after saying this, Lin Yi regretted it a little. Because Lin Yi suddenly remembered that Shihan told him about her childhood. Shihan should be Feng Tianlin's illegitimate daughter. And after Shihan and her mother were attacked, they didn't see Feng Tianlin again. Naturally, Shihan wouldn't know about Feng Tianlin and Feng Shipian. But at the beginning, Lin Yi didn't think about this. He thought that Feng Tianlin had been in contact with Shirhan. Now that he thought about it, Shirhan didn't mention that she saw her father after she was separated from her mother. You met my father? I have a brother. Shirhan widened her eyes in shock. She looked at Lin Yi. Her body was shaking. She was obviously very emotional. Her breathing became rapid. But in the next moment, cold sweat appeared on Shirhan's forehead. Her breathing became more rapid. She couldn't help but moan. It hurts. My head hurts. Wang Sis, give me the medicine. Wang Sis was also shocked. What Lin Yi and Feng San Wang said in the car today shocked her. Lin Yi knew Shirhan's father, and from the looks of it, Feng San Wang also knew about it. Wang Sis, who is usually a chatterbox, didn't dare to interrupt today. She didn't know what to say, but Su Shirhan had a headache. She subconsciously grabbed her backpack and started rummaging through it. Every time Shirhan went out, she would let Wang Sis bring the painkillers from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. No need. Lin Yi shook his head at Wang Sis. He reached out and pressed on Shirhan's forehead and chest. Shirhan's emotions gradually returned to normal, but she was still panting. She blushed and said gratefully to Lin Yi, "Thank you." Although Lin Yi cured her headache, he also touched her body. But Shirhan knew that Lin Yi did it for her own good. He didn't want to take advantage of her. No need to thank me. It was me who gave you a headache. I should be the one apologizing. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I didn't think that you didn't know about your father and brother. I thought you already knew. Chapter 3071. Then do you hate him? Lin Yi stayed silent for a while and asked. Suddenly hearing that my dad knew about me, but didn't want to see me, I did feel a bit uncomfortable, but thinking about it, maybe he has his own difficulties. Su Shirhan smiled at Lin Yi and said, I'm an illegitimate daughter. He has his own life, and at least, Lin Yi, you were hired by dad and brother to protect me. At least they care about me. I've never met my brother before, and he treats me like this. What else do I have to hate? On the contrary, I'm very happy today. You let me know some things I've always wanted to know. My dad is fine. That's great. Okay, then do you want to see him? At this point, Lin Yi knew that he couldn't hide it anymore, so he asked. But from Lin Yi's point of view, Su Shirhan was still calm. She was already an adult. She could face everything rationally. He doesn't want to see me. Of course, he has his difficulties. It doesn't matter if I don't see him or not. Although I really want to see him, I know he's fine, so I'm at ease. Su Shirhan smiled bitterly and said, To be honest, I don't have much of an impression of him anymore. Lin Yi nodded and looked at Feng San Wang. Feng San Wang, you don't have anything else to say? I've said a lot of what needs to be said. You can fill in the rest. Okay. Feng San Wang was helpless. Lin Yi had said so much already. It didn't matter if he said it or not. Even if Feng Tianlin blamed him, Lin Yi would be there. So he told the truth. Miss Su, I'm a bodyguard sent by your father to protect you. In fact, Master has always cared about you. These years, your path has been smooth sailing. It's also because of Master's help. There are people with bad intentions. I'll help you solve it. I will help you deal with it. If there is pressure from the company, Master will use his connections to settle it. You should be able to feel it too. So that's how it is. Su Shirhan nodded. All these years, Su Shirhan herself felt that her path to stardom was too smooth. She didn't encounter any unspoken rules and rejected some of the company's activities. The company didn't freeze her. Instead, they welcomed her with a smile. So Su Shirhan's fame grew. Of course, it couldn't be denied that Su Shirhan's hard work and talent played a part in it. But without someone helping her in the dark, it wouldn't have been so smooth. After all, Su Shirhan wasn't the only one with hard work and talent, but only Su Shirhan succeeded. This meant that there were some problems. Nowadays, most of the celebrities in the company relied on their bodies or their family's influence to get to where they were. Su Shirhan was very clear about this. Although there were some who achieved success through their own hard work, there weren't many. Su Shirhan was the most successful among them. This could be considered a miracle, but now it seemed that it wasn't. It was inevitable. Then what's my father's name? Shirhan asked. Feng San Wang looked at Lin Yi. He didn't know if he should tell Su Shirhan Feng Tianlin's name or not. His name is Feng Tianlin. His background is the ancient Feng family, an ancient aristocratic family. You should have heard of this name before, Lin Yi said to Su Shirhan. It's a higher level of hidden aristocratic family. Ancient. Shirhan nodded, but she didn't seem to know much about it. So, my surname isn't Su. My surname is Feng. All right. Do you know your mother's name? Perhaps I can help you look for her? Lin Yi asked. Feng Tianlin had been looking for her, but he might not be able to find her. After all, Feng Tianlin didn't dare to look for her openly. Among the Feng family's people, one of them might be Feng Tianhu's trusted aide. If Feng Tianhu found out, then things would be even worse. But Lin Yi was different. Lin Yi could ask Gu Xian to help him look. Gu Xian was someone who knew about the ancient world. Maybe he could find her. I don't know. Shirhan shook her head and sighed. At that time, I was too young. I don't remember my mother's name. Then forget it. I'll ask Uncle Feng myself when I have the chance. Lin Yi nodded. Today's matter is settled. Han, since everyone is so familiar with each other, let's go back to my villa. Yao Yao and Shu miss you too. Okay. Shirhan breathed out in relief. It was Lin Yi's villa. There was no problem. Shirhan, Ming Yao, and Yushu got along well. Everyone was familiar with each other. It wouldn't be inconvenient for them to live together. On the way, Shirhan was still worried about these things. But in a blink of an eye, it was all gone. Feng San Wang, on the other hand, was worried. He wanted to find a chance to call Feng Tianlin and tell him what happened. What happened was out of Feng San Wang's control. These things were supposed to be kept secret. Now that Shirhan knew about it, it was all because of his mistake. Although, this mistake could be said to be a combination of many factors. He didn't know that Lin Yi was Lin Yi, and he just happened to know Lin Yi. In the end, he recognized Lin Yi at the airport and called Lin Yi, which made Shirhan suspicious. At the end of the day, he was also responsible for this. If he had made an agreement with Lin Yi beforehand and told each other their names and clothes, this kind of mistake wouldn't have happened. However, it had already happened, and no one could change it. The car drove towards the direction of the villa. Meng Yao and Yushu were sitting on the sofa, whispering to each other. Yao Yao sis, you must like Shield bro, don't deny it. Yushu said, how is that possible? I don't like Shield bro, Meng Yao said. Look, you're talking nonsense. You also call him Shield bro. Yushu didn't believe it. I didn't. Isn't it because of you? When Meng Yao said this, she asked herself in her heart, did she like Lin Yi? They probably liked each other. But was there any possibility between the two of them? Denial after denial, misunderstandings after misunderstandings. Meng Yao and Lin Yi's relationship was only maintained at the level of friends, not taking it to the next step. Seeing other girls around her becoming Lin Yi's girlfriends one after another, it was impossible for Meng Yao to not have any thoughts. Chapter 3072. If Lin Yi didn't take the initiative to say it, she wouldn't either. Even if Lin Yi accepted her, it'd still be a charity, wouldn't it? With Lin Yi and Meng Yao's relationship, Meng Yao believed that as long as she said it, Lin Yi would accept her out of consideration for her face. But this wasn't what the miss wanted. She wanted a love that didn't need to be spectacular, but she didn't need charity. Why could Tang Yun, Xiao Xiao, Wang Xinyan, and Sun Jingyi? Was it because Tang Yun was pretty, Xiao Xiao was proactive, and Wang Xinyan and Sun Jingyi were helpful to Lin Yi? But she wasn't any worse than Tang Yun. Damn Lin Yi, would kill you to chase me? The miss was touched by Yushu's words today, but she suddenly realized that she cared about Lin Yi and hoped that Lin Yi would chase her. As for what she said before about not liking him, it was just a lie. It might have been true in the beginning, but as time went by, Meng Yao couldn't tell if she really didn't like him or if it was just an excuse to numb herself. Could it be because she was too familiar with Lin Yi? There were many times when a man and a woman who were too familiar with each other couldn't become lovers. But she and Lin Yi weren't that familiar either, right? At least, she didn't know what he was thinking, and Lin Yi didn't know what she was thinking either. At that thought, Meng Yao glared at Yushu. Big tits, can't you be a little more hardworking? I said I don't like you, and you're not going to help me? Where's your usual smarts? Dropping the ball at a critical moment. Stupid unlucky Shu. Oh, Yao Yao, why were you glaring at me? I'll stop talking, all right? Yushu shrunk her neck and shut her mouth after seeing Meng Yao's scary look. Meng Yao wanted nothing more than to kick Yushu into outer space. Since when did I forbid you from talking? I mean, say a little harder, you stupid Shu. You're pissing me off. Yushu looked at Meng Yao's furious face and found it a little strange. Yao Yao, I already said it. Why are you still scowling at me? Then Shu, I won't make this kind of joke anymore, okay? No. Meng Yao finally gathered her courage and roared. The roar scared Yushu so much that she jumped up from the sofa with a whoosh, her hair almost standing on end. But just when Yushu was wondering what that no meant and why Yao Yao was so angry, the sound of a car came from the villa. Meng Yao roared. He used up all the courage in his body, but he didn't want to explain anything to Yushu anymore. He stood up. Lin E is back. Let's go out and take a look. I wonder which celebrity it is. Is it what we like? We just like Sister Shirhan. We don't like anyone else, Yushu said. Then let's go take a look. He's Lin Yi's guest, after all, Meng Yao said as she walked towards the door. Yushu saw Meng Yao leave. She followed behind her and walked out of the villa with her. At this time, Lin Yi's car also drove into the villa. Lin Yi got out of the car first, and at this time, the other doors of the car also opened. Su Shirhan also got out of the car from the front passenger seat. Meng Yao saw Su Shirhan and suddenly froze. Lin Yi, didn't you go to pick someone up? Why did you bring Sister Shirhan back? Hee, Yao Yao. The person I want to protect is Su Shirhan. She is Feng Shirshan's sister. I just found out about the specific situation. Let's go in and talk. Lin Yi also smiled bitterly and spread his hands. To be honest, he was shocked at the beginning. Okay. Meng Yao nodded and let out a sigh of relief. She was happy that she would be able to live with the star she liked in the future, but she was also a little disappointed. With Su Shirhan's addition, Lin Yi's attention would be on other girls again. When would he notice her again? When this thought came up, it scared the miss. I actually care about Lin Yi so much. Meng Yao looked at Yushu from the corner of her eyes. She was a little annoyed. Big breasts and no brains. It was right. She dropped the ball at the critical moment. Yushu felt wronged under Meng Yao's angry gaze. She used to try her best to matchmake Meng Yao and Lin Yi, but she was scolded every time. Now that she didn't dare to matchmake them, she was dissatisfied. How could she be so unlucky? The group entered Lin Yi's villa. Although Wang Sis was a strict person, she had a good impression of Lin Yi, especially since Lin Yi's medicine company solved Su Shirhan's problem. Lin Yi was Su Shirhan's savior. She was still very polite to Lin Yi. Mr. Lin, it's not a problem for Miss Su to stay here, but it's not convenient for me to stay here. Wang Sis also visited Lin Yi's villa. She realized that Lin Yi's villa wasn't too big. There weren't that many rooms. There were 2 rooms upstairs, one for Su Shirhan and the other for Meng Yao and Yushu. There were 3 rooms downstairs, one for Lin Yi, one for San Wang, and one for Wu Qintian. There were no empty rooms. Therefore, Sister Wang was also very reasonable and said, "Why don't I move out to live? There's a hotel nearby. It's not bad. It's fine." Qintian walked out of his room at this time. He usually practiced in his room, and although he couldn't practice on his own after Lin Yi leveled up his practitioner's arts, he was still a dual practitioner. After leveling up his spiritual arts, he needed to improve his physical arts as well, and so he practiced whenever he had nothing to do and only came out when he had something to do. "Mr. Feng, can we stay in the same room? We're both men, it's fine." "Sure." San Wang didn't have any objections. "You're a practitioner too, right? At night, I will mainly meditate and cultivate. The 2 of us can also learn from each other and discuss cultivation matters." "Then it's settled." Lin Yi nodded. "Han, you, Yao Yao, and Shu can stay upstairs. Wang Sis and Phone Bro can stay downstairs." After arranging the rooms, Lin Yi told Meng Yao and Yushu about Su Shirhan's situation. Meng Yao and Shu sympathized with Su Shirhan's childhood. They didn't know that behind a superstar, there were so many unknown tragedies. San Wang, on the other hand, found a place with no one and called Tianlin. Chapter 3073. Yes, but, Master, there's a small problem here. Feng San Huang smiled bitterly. Miss Su knows about your situation and identity. Knows? What's going on? Feng Tianlin was taken aback. He immediately became nervous and asked in a deep voice, "What's going on? How did Xiaohan know?" It's like this. Feng Sanwang didn't dare to hide it, and told Feng Tianlin everything. He didn't dare to push the blame to Lin Yi. He wasn't that kind of person. Oh, Feng Tianlin heard San Huang's words and was slightly taken aback. He didn't expect things to turn out this way. However, he couldn't blame San Huang for this. If he had to blame someone, he could only blame himself for not telling San Huang that Ling Yi was Lin Yi. However, Feng Tianlin didn't think that much. But when he heard Su Shihan's reaction, he let out a sigh of relief. He was comforted. Feng Tianlin had been hiding the truth from Su Shihan all these years because he didn't dare to tell her. He was afraid that if he told her the truth, she would hate him and ignore him. After all, when Su Shihan's mother was hurt, Feng Tianlin had a big responsibility. He didn't protect Su Shihan and her mother well, causing Su Shihan to be separated from her mother. So, Feng Tianlin could only do things for Su Shihan behind the scenes, but he didn't dare to acknowledge her. This wasn't what Feng Sanhuang had guessed, but if Feng Tianlin and Su Shihan acknowledged each other, it would make Dongfang Xiaotsue unhappy and give Feng Tianhu the opportunity to take revenge. Because whether it was Dongfang Xiaotsue or Feng Tianhu, they already knew about Su Shihan's village. Only Feng Tianlin's heart couldn't get over it. Plus, Feng Tianlin was a cowardly person. With his current position, he couldn't guarantee that Grandpa Feng would agree to Su Shihan's return. If he didn't agree, then Feng Tianlin would be even more embarrassed. So, he had been working hard all these years, but his personality determined that he wasn't the material to be the head of a family. He would endure, but he wasn't decisive. It was a far cry from Feng's poem. Feng Shipian knew how to endure patiently and make a decisive decision at a crucial moment. This was also the reason why he recognized Lin Yi as his boss without any hesitation and even mentioned it during the family meeting. In comparison, Feng Shishan was a better candidate for the position of patriarch. As for Feng Nitian, he was all brawn and no brains. Arrogant and despotic. This kind of person would still have room for growth if he didn't meet a strong enemy. However, if he was crippled because he was showing off, then he wouldn't have any chance. In fact, this was all based on luck. Even though the local tyrant had been crippled, he was still able to act tough. But he was lucky. Moreover, he had realized his mistake and turned back. If Nitian was smart enough, he would repent at home. He didn't want to argue with Feng Shipian anymore. Maybe he could plead with Lin Yi and Lin Yi could cure him. However, he didn't repent, so he couldn't blame others. Arid Triad. It's good to talk about this. Feng Tianlin didn't hate Su Shihan. He felt gratified and said, "When this is over, I'll go see Xiaohan myself." "Yes, master." San Huang saw that Feng Tianlin wasn't too angry and breathed a sigh of relief. And so, Su Shihan stayed in Lin Yi's villa. Lin Yi, after receiving 2 large sums of money, gave it to Fatty Lai. Fatty Lai's medical company also received some relief. Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily, this idiot Zhening Jun came to give him money. However, if he wanted Xiaoke's orphanage and House Lu to return to normal, it all depended on Lu Jinghan, the genius girl of House Lu. Lin Yi only saw her once at the meeting of the noble houses. She was wearing a veil at that time, so Lin Yi didn't pay much attention to her. But Han Jingjing praised her so much. It seemed that Lu Jinghan had some capabilities. At least, Han Jingjing, the little genius, wouldn't push a mediocre person. He planned on going to see Lu Jinghan after he was done with the things on hand. In fact, even if the ancient House Dongfang had decided to deal with Su Shihan, they couldn't do it immediately. After all, there were rules and regulations for the ancient world to act against people from the common world. It wasn't allowed at all. Although the ancient House Dongfang was strong, they didn't dare to go against the rules. They had to find a suitable excuse. Only with an excuse would it be convenient to act. Of course, this excuse couldn't have anything to do with Su Shirhan. Although Su Shirhan was Feng Tianlin's illegitimate daughter, it wasn't made public. House Feng hadn't acknowledged their ancestors yet. If they made a move against Su Shirhan, it would be the same as making a move against people from the common world. This was a provocation against the rules of the ancient world. Unless the House Dongfang sent a few death warriors out, they wouldn't admit it even if they were found out. But that was impossible. If Dongfang Bo wanted to go himself, then it wouldn't be as simple as not admitting it and hiding their identity. Therefore, the House Dongfang had been looking for an excuse these few days. The person Dongfang Jinxing sent this time was Dongfang Cha, an early-stage heaven-class master from the House Dongfang. She was an experienced master from the House Dongfang, an expert in kidnapping and extortion. The House Dongfang wasn't as clean as it looked on the surface. An ancient family like this, if they didn't get some dirty money, how could they support a family like this? There were so many masters in the House Dongfang, but they didn't have any source of income. The amount of medicine and pills they spent every year was not a small amount. Reported young master, I have just received some very bad news. Elder Dongfang Jian is dead. Just when Dongfang Jinxing was looking for an excuse to enter the common world, a disciple of the House Dongfang ran over and said while panting, "What did you say?" Dongfang Jinxing jumped up from his seat in shock. Looking at the disciple, he asked, "Dongfang Jian is dead? Didn't Dongfang Jian go to the Cultivator Trade Association to look for herbs to improve Bu Chio's meridians? How did he die?" Young master, this is the news from the Cultivator Trade Association. Elder Dongfang Jian is dead. The disciple said carefully. What happened? How did Dongfang Jian die? Could it be that he was killed by someone? Dongfang Jinxing's face became extremely gloomy. Tell me in detail. Chapter 3074. I'm not too sure about that. According to Vice President Ouyang of the Cultivator Trade Association, Elder Dongfang Jian got into a conflict with someone when he was searching for medicinal ingredients. The other party was even stronger than Elder Dongfang Jian, so he killed Elder Dongfang Jian. The disciple told the story from beginning to end. Who was it? Who was stronger than Dongfang Jian? After all, Dongfang Jian was a peak mid-heaven rank powerhouse. Who could kill him? Was it a group attack? Dongfang Jinxing asked. I'm not sure about that. Vice Chairman Ouyang said that when the association arrived, Elder Dongfang Jian was already dead, but they didn't see who did it. The disciple said, Didn't see it? Didn't you ask them to investigate? Dongfang Jinxing was in a good mood, but now he was in a bad mood. Dongfang Broal was going to find Su Shirhan, and Dongfang Jinxing was happy about it. He could help Dongfang Xiaozue and make his son happy, so why not? Even when Dongfang Xiaozue called to cancel, Dongfang Jinxing knew that deep in her heart, she still hoped that something would happen to Su Shirhan, but because of Feng Tianlin, he couldn't do that. And so Dongfang Jinxing strongly rejected it, and Dongfang Xiaozue and Feng Tianlin couldn't do anything about it. But now Dongfang Jian was actually dead. This was simply a wake-up call. Although the Dongfang family was powerful, they weren't filled with heaven rankers. Dongfang Jinxing was a peak mid-heaven ranker, while Dongfang Jinxing was only a late heaven ranker. This was the second person from Dongfang Jinxing to die. His other son, Dongfang Biru, was even more talented than Dongfang Jinxing, and Dongfang Jinxing was planning to groom him as the future of Dongfang Jinxing. But who would have thought that he would be killed by Zhang Naipeo in the test? Everyday and everyday sect. Dongfang Jinxing didn't dare to retaliate. They were the typical type of people who bullied the weak and feared the strong. This was different from Fiery Mountain. Dongfang Jinxing saw that they weren't as strong as the everyday and everyday sect, so they didn't bother them at all. Of course, this was also because Dongfang Biru died in the Sky Elixir sex test. If it wasn't the Sky Elixir sex test, Dongfang Jinxing would have demanded an explanation. Even if he wasn't a match for him, he should at least give him some compensation, right? Fortunately, Dongfang Jinxing's other son, Dongfang Bue, was not weak. Although he was a bit of a playboy, he was still talented. Now, he was a peak late-phase Earth-class master. As long as his meridians were improved, breaking through to Sky-class wouldn't be a problem. Stepping in his Sky-class peak late-phase wouldn't be a dream either. He, Dongfang Jingxing, had 2 good sons. This was also his pride. Now that Dongfang Jian had died, while collecting herbs for Dongfang Brua, Dongfang Jingxing had to avenge him no matter what. Otherwise, who would work for the Dongfang family in the future? Thinking of this, Dongfang Jingxing waved his hand and motioned the disciple to leave first. Then he walked quickly to the room of the current head of the Dongfang family, Dongfang Badeo. The Dongfang family had 3 heaven-rank peak, late-phase experts. Both are in retreat to break through the Great Perfection realm. One of them is the old man of Dongfang Badeo. The other is the son of Dongfang Badeo. Dongfang Jingxing's younger brother, Dongfang Yinxing, and Dongfang Buli, who had died in the heavenly elixir sex trial. With the existence of 3 heaven-rank peak late-phase experts, the strength of the Dongfang family can be imagined. It is quite tyrannical, and the old man of Dongfang is also quite overbearing as his name suggests. Once he breaks through to the Great Perfection, I am afraid that he will definitely find the everyday sect to ask for an explanation, but now, he dare not. Dongfang Jingxing knocked on the door, and the voice of the old man of Dongfang came from inside. "Who is it? What's the matter?" "Father, it's me, Jingxing." Dongfang Jingxing replied. "Oh, Jingxing, come in." Dongfang Badeo nodded. "Father, something happened. Something happened to elder Dongfang Jian." As soon as Dongfang Jingxing entered the door, he said quickly, "What? Something happened to Dongfang Jian? What happened? What happened?" Dongfang Badeo was shocked and asked quickly. "It's like this." Dongfang Jingxing quickly told the old man what the disciple had said before. "Cultivator, trading association, conflict with others?" Dongfang Badeo frowned. "Jingxing, have you called the Cultivator Trading Association personally to ask?" "Not yet. I came to ask Father first to see if you have any instructions." Dongfang Jingxing said. "Well, I'll ask the Cultivator Trading Association personally." Dongfang Badeo also knew that with Dongfang Jingxing's weight, he probably wouldn't be able to ask anything, so he was going to call and ask in person. After all, the Cultivator Trading Association was a very powerful existence. The president, there was already a heaven stage master, and several honorary presidents were even masters of the peak late stage of heaven stage great perfection. How could the Dongfang family dare to act rashly? "Yinxing, bring me my phone." Dongfang Badeo said to Dongfang Yinxing on the side. "Yes, father." Although Dongfang Yinxing was stronger than Dongfang Jingxing, he did not have a family, nor did he have children, and he was unwilling to take care of the family trifles. He liked to cultivate every day, so he did not compete with Dongfang Jingxing. Moreover, because he had no children, he was more partial to Dongfang Bujiang and Dongfang Buqiao, like the old man of Dongfang. He wanted to train these two to be the successors of the Dongfang family, but he did not expect one to die. Now he was preparing to train the other. Elder Dongfang Jian was killed while looking for medicinal materials for him. How could Dongfang Badeo tolerate it? "Hello, is this President Li?" Dongfang Badeo took the phone and dialed the phone of President Li, the president of the Cultivator Trading Association. "It's me, the old man of Dongfang Badeo. What's the matter?" President Li also had Dongfang Badeo's phone number, so he said politely, "It's like this, President Li. An elder of our Dongfang family died in your Cultivator Trading Association branch. Is there any news on your side?" Dongfang Badeo asked. "This is Vice President Ouyang's responsibility. We reported the situation to your Dongfang clan. I didn't ask too much about the specifics." President Li said, "If your Dongfang clan wants to take revenge, I think it'll be a little difficult." Chapter 3075. The Cultivator Trading Association usually doesn't have an invitation letter. As long as you have enough strength, you can participate. I think you know that Master Dongfang, and we didn't know the identity of the murderer in advance. We didn't even know who the murderer was and how many people were. We didn't know the identity of Dongfang Jian either. It was only after several days of investigation that we learned his identity and informed your Dongfang family immediately. President Li said, and now, you have no clues at all. How can you talk about revenge? President Li, I always feel that this matter is a bit strange. It should be impossible to say that Vice President Yang knows nothing about it, right? Heaven Stage Masters fight. Such a big battle. He doesn't go and see? If he is really afraid of death and hides, this is a bit unreasonable, right? How can such a greedy and cowardly person be the vice president? Dongfang Badeo wanted to find a breakthrough from this Vice President Yang. So, in the end, he just wanted President Li to relent and let the Dongfang family go directly to Vice President Yang for questioning. Master Dongfang, to be honest, I also have some doubts in my heart about this matter. Either Vice President Yang knows and does not report, or he is incompetent as a vice president, but I can't do anything about it. President Li smiled bitterly and said, I'm not afraid to tell you, Master Dongfang, although Vice President Yang is my subordinate. Vice President Yang has an uncle who is the supreme honorary president of our Cultivator Trading Association, and he is the second supreme president. Even I don't dare to do anything to him. It turns out to be like this. Dongfang Badeo nodded. Fortunately, he didn't act rashly. Otherwise, if he went directly to deal with this Vice President Yang, it would be like poking the hornet's nest. The second supreme honorary president, that must be a great perfection master with the strength of the peak late stage of Heaven Stage. So, we can't do anything about it. If Master Dongfang wants to find the murderer, you can secretly investigate it yourself. President Li said, Okay, thank you, President Li. Dongfang Badeo nodded. It seemed that this matter really had to be investigated by the Dongfang family themselves. But in this way, Dongfang Badeo found a reason to let the masters of his family enter the secular world. To investigate the cause of Dongfang Jian's death, sending a young master heir and a family elder was not a big battle, and others would not doubt anything. As for some minor conflicts with the people of the secular world during the investigation, no one would say anything. After all, these things were inevitable. After hanging up the phone, Dongfang Badeo gave the phone to Dongfang Yinxing, then looked up at Dongfang Jingxing and said, Jingxing, this time, let Bully and Dongfang Cha openly investigate the cause of Dongfang Jian's death. In secret, they could do whatever they wanted. In this way, it wouldn't be considered as violating the ancient agreement. But first, we must inform the Heavenly Elixir sect and the other big sects of our purpose before we take action, so that no one can use it against us. Yes, Father, I understand. Dongfang Jingxing's eyes lit up, and he understood the meaning of Dongfang Badeo. This way, they could kill two birds with one stone. They could investigate the cause of Dongfang Jian's death, and Dongfang Brua could deal with Su Shiran. All right, you may leave. I'm going to continue cultivating. Dongfang Badeo said, I have touched the barrier of great perfection. It is estimated that in the recent 6 months, there will be some progress. At that time, our Dongfang family will have a master of great perfection in the late stage of Heaven Stage, and we can be ranked among the first-class ancient sects. Okay, Father, then you and Brother continue to cultivate. If you can all break through, then our Dongfang family will be even more powerful. Dongfang Jingxing said quickly. Silver Star is still a little bit worse. If he didn't lose and fall, I'm afraid his strength is not inferior to Silver Star. AI, he is the genius of our Dongfang family, and he fell like this. Wait for this old man to break through to the peak of Heaven Stage late stage. Then I will go to the everyday sect to settle accounts. I must let them give me an explanation. Dongfang Badeo sneered. Yes, now we can only swallow our anger. Dongfang Jingxing nodded. Jingxing, your strength is actually not bad. You practice well, and it should not be a problem to raise your strength to the peak of Heaven Stage late stage. You just think too much about the family all day long. Your aptitude is not much worse than Silver Star. Dongfang Badeo said. Okay, Father, I will work hard. Dongfang Jingxing smiled bitterly. Before, He wanted to be the young master, but after becoming the young master, he realized how much the young master delayed his cultivation. Of course, if Dongfang Silver Star did not take the initiative to give up his position and compete with Dongfang Jinxing, then it is estimated that Dongfang Jinxing would not think so. Things that are too easy to get are not cherished. If it was like the ancient Feng family, I am afraid it would be another kind of situation. After leaving Dongfang Badeo's room, Dongfang Jinxing went to prepare for Dongfang Bruo and Dongfang Cha to enter and leave the secular world. With the attitude that good food is not late, they must be fully prepared, so as not to be criticized by people when they enter and leave the secular world at will. The Dongfang family is not strong enough to ignore others. If Dongfang Badeo and Dongfang Silver Star are successful in promoting to the peak of Heaven Stage Late Stage, then the Dongfang family will not be afraid. Dark Night Palace. The Great Elder's face was extremely gloomy because this morning she received bad news. Palace Master Yi Wan, when taking the Qi Gathering Pill to break through to Heaven Stage, did not get the inheritance. That is to say, Yi Wan failed to get the inheritance. It must be known that Yi Wan who has already lost her virginity, wants to accept the inheritance, and a moment of breaking through to Heaven Stage is the best time to understand the inheritance. If there is no opportunity to understand the inheritance at this time, then there is basically no hope in the next few years. So the Great Elder's heart was broken at this moment, and the dream of the Dark Night Palace was also broken. What the Great Elder is counting on is that she and Yi Wan become the peak of Heaven Stage Late Stage at the same time, and then become the participants of the Heaven Stage Island plan, and then set foot on the heavenly way together. In this way, the strength of the Dark Night Palace will have a qualitative leap. Chapter 3076. Although the metal element inheritor of the Dark Palace was an indispensable part of the Sky Class Island plan, it wasn't irreplaceable. If the Dark Palace really couldn't do it, then that place, the Five Elements sect, would definitely look for other ways to replace it. It was possible to let a cultivator with a better metal attribute physique gain enlightenment from metal. Although the success rate was relatively low, it was said that attribute inheritors could be replaced in this way. Therefore, the Grand Elder really felt a sense of urgency. Yi Wan, tell me, what do you think we should do? The Grand Elder was truly anxious this time. When you married a mortal and gave birth to a little bastard, a part of your Dark Phoenix bloodline was separated. Now, if you don't get the inheritance, our Dark Palace is done for. Done for? Do you understand? I'm sorry. Yi Wan lowered her head. She was already a Sky Class early phase now, but she wasn't happy at all. She knew that she wouldn't be able to get the inheritance in the near future. This was a fatal blow to the Dark Palace. I'm sorry? What's the use of sorry? The Grand Elder gritted her teeth. I've decided I'll kill Pingzhan, that mortal, and Meng Yao, that little bastard, to vent my anger. Otherwise, it won't be enough to appease my anger. Don't. Wan jumped in fright. She didn't expect the Grand Elder to be this ruthless. He was going to attack Meng Yao and Pengzhan. She panicked. Grand Elder, you don't remember Mr. Yang? Wow. Yi Wan you're using that Yang to threaten me? After the Elder heard Yi Wan's words, it was as if she had stepped on his foot. He flew into a rage and said, that Yang guy has disappeared for more than 10 years. It's not even certain whether he's dead or not. You want to use him to threaten me? I'm telling you, if he was still alive, he would have come out a long time ago. Would he wait until now? Yi Wan stop dreaming. The Grand Elder roared in exasperation. Of course, this was for Yi Wan and also for the Grand Elder herself, because she felt guilty. Although that ruthless man had disappeared for more than 10 years, it was undeniable that he was an incomparably terrifying existence in the Grand Elder's heart. Not to mention the Grand Supreme Elder, any ancient sect will be scared out of their wits at the mention of those two people, the Vajra Fiend duo. As for the Great Elder, he had actually fought with one of the two and even compromised. The one with the surname Yang was Yi Wan in Pengzhan's support. If it weren't for him, the Grand Elder wouldn't have let Pengzhan and Meng Yao go. It was because he was too afraid that the Grand Elder didn't allow anyone to mention this person. Even if this person had disappeared for more than 10 years, the Grand Elder would still feel guilty when she heard this name. So she was flustered and exasperated. You on her felt wronged. Was it wrong to pursue love? Is it wrong to not want to marry someone you don't like? However, in the final analysis, even if Mr. Young left, if Mr. Young was still there, would the Supreme Elder dare to do this? If Mr. Young was still here, then the Palace of Darkness would be destroyed because of him. It wouldn't decline, right? All right, I declare that from today onwards, Yuan will no longer be the Palace Master of the Dark Palace. The Grand Elder had already made his decision. I will temporarily take over the position of Palace Lord until the Dark Phoenix Guiding Stone is activated and a new inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline is found. She will be the new Palace Lord. The new Palace Master will lead us to glory. Yuan didn't really care about the position of Palace Master of the Dark Palace. She just wanted to be a normal girl, spending the rest of her life with Pengzhan, taking care of her husband, and raising their children. How happy would that be? But now, she had been forcefully pushed into the position of Palace Master. Every day, aside from training, she would inherit. She was already bored enough, but she couldn't say anything about it. Now, Yuan Air was free, but what she was most afraid of was that the Grand Elder would do something to Pengzhan and Ming Yao. So, she didn't care if she was going to fall out with the Grand Elder. She said quickly, Grand Elder, finding a new inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline, and dealing with Pengzhan and Ming Yao are two different things. Your priority right now is to find the inheritor. Why are you lowering yourself to these two normal people? Plus, Ming Yao's bodyguard, Lin, isn't someone to be trifled with. I heard that he's reached Sky Class early phase now, and can even fight people above his level. You're threatening me again? The Grand Elder glared furiously. Lin, he's just a freelancer trash. Sky Class early phase. Even if he can fight people above his level, what can he do to me? I'll kill him with one slap. I wouldn't have thought of it if you didn't mention it. This Lin, I'm definitely going to get revenge on him. That's right. Lin is arrogant and doesn't respect our palace at all. We should get rid of him as soon as possible. You're wise, Grand Elder. Qibing spoke up. He could tell that Yuan Air had lost her power, and all he had to do now was follow the Grand Elder's footsteps and serve the new Palace Master well. It'd be best if he could become the new Palace Master's confidant, and that'd be the time for him to shine. You guys, Yuan Air fell to the ground, powerless. But she could understand the Grand Elder's anger. From the Grand Elder's point of view, it was Yuan Air's fault for being with Pengzhan back then, leading to the Palace Master's current situation. All right, that's enough. Elderly, take Yuan Air to her place to reflect on her wrongdoing. We don't need her in the future. The Grand Elder didn't mind Yuan Air meeting with Elderly now. Even if the two of them were to plot, they wouldn't be able to come up with anything. Yuan Air had lost her power. She was just a normal disciple of the Palace Master, not even an elder. She could only order Elderly around, and the others wouldn't listen to her. Elderly couldn't help her anymore. After all, his power was limited. Now, the rest of you, follow me to the Dark Phoenix Palace and activate the Dark Phoenix Guiding Stone to find the next inheritor of the Palace Master. We'll kill Lin, Pengzhan, and Ming Yao along the way. Let's go, miss. Let's go back. Elderly sighed. It seemed like the Grand Elder had made up his mind, not giving Yuan Air a chance to speak or explain. They could only wait for the Grand Elder to find the inheritor of the Dark Phoenix and be in a good mood before pleading with her. Chapter 3077. Elderly, tell me, how can we stop the Grand Elder? Warner's heart felt like it was being sliced by a knife. She felt that she was a failure as a mother. It was fine if she couldn't raise her daughter, but in the end, she couldn't even protect her and was even harming her. Miss, the Great Elder won't do anything to the little miss and the young master for now. After all, her mind isn't on this. The inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline is our palace's priority. The Great Elder is angry right now. Once she finds the inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline and is in a good mood, we can go and plead for them. We should be able to make her stop. Elderly comforted. But whether or not the Grand Elder could change her mind, Elderly wasn't too sure. But in order to not hurt Warner, he could only say things in a positive direction. That's true. Warner breathed out in relief. Elderly, let's go back first. Can you help me find out about Yao Yao's situation? I'll try my best. Elderly sighed. I've already given control of the Dark Shadow Group to Zhao Qibing, the disciple of Black Cloak. If I want to find out about these things, I can only rely on the people I've trained in the Dark Shadow Group. But it's very difficult for these people to act alone without Zhao Qibing's permission. Elderly, I'll have to trouble you then. Warner smiled bitterly. She knew that the Grand Elder was guarding against her, and Elderly, so she did her best to take away their power so that they had no right to speak in the palace. The Grand Elder brought a group of elders and disciples of the Dark Palace. They came together to the Dark Phoenix Palace at the peak of the Dark Phoenix mountain range. Here was the ancient Dark Phoenix guiding stone. This guiding stone, in fact, its original purpose was to find the Dark Phoenix. But an ancestor of the palace accidentally discovered that this stone could also be used to find the inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline, and this discovery was used until now. As the Grand Elder of the Dark Palace, it was easy for her to activate the Dark Phoenix Guidance Stone. She did all the preparations and activated it. Beneath the Dark Phoenix's guiding stone, it was a huge map of the world, and the coordinates were shockingly accurate. After the Dark Phoenix stone was activated, a small, ordinary-looking stone suddenly shone with golden light and flew into the sky, reaching a very high altitude. If it wasn't for its blinding light, the people from the Palace of Darkness wouldn't even be able to see its existence. However, the light was simply too dazzling. Even though the Dark Phoenix Guidance Stone had already flown to an altitude of several thousand meters, everyone could still see the golden light radiating from it. This was the power of an ancient divine tool. However, this divine artifact could only be used to find the descendant of the Dark Phoenix bloodline. It couldn't be used as a heaven-ranked divine artifact. Otherwise, it would be extremely powerful. The Grand Elder and everyone else looked up at the Dark Phoenix guiding stone in the sky with bated breath. They knew that the Dark Phoenix Guidance Stone was searching for an inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline. From the sky, it searched for any possessors of the Dark Phoenix bloodline. It was the first time Zhao Qibing had seen something like this, and he clicked his tongue in amazement. This Dark Phoenix Guidance Stone was really something. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have thought that he was watching a sci-fi movie. The hidden world knew too little about these divine weapons. And this was also why even old Zhao didn't have a heaven-class weapon. The Hidden House's foundation wasn't strong enough to have something like this. Even in the ancient sects, there weren't many heaven-ranked divine weapons left. Not every heaven-ranked expert could find a divine weapon that was suitable for them to use. This was also the reason why Lin Yi was able to trade a weapon that the Snowy Valley had taken a liking to. Otherwise, the Snowy Valley wouldn't have been willing to take such a loss. The Dark Phoenix Guidance Stone kept circling in the air, emitting a blinding golden light. Everyone from the Dark Palace was extremely nervous, their hearts racing. The Grand Elder himself, on the other hand, was holding his breath. The contents of the Dark Phoenix Guidance Stone affected the future of the entire Dark Palace. If the stone couldn't find an inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline, then the Dark Palace would be finished. Actually, the Dark Phoenix Guidance Stone hadn't been circling in the sky for a long time. In fact, it could even be said to be very short. However, this short 10 minutes felt like a year to everyone present. Even Zhao Qibing was a little nervous. After all, if the Dark Palace became strong, then he would be the strong one. If the Dark Palace was finished, then how was it going to take revenge on Lin Yi? And so, Zhao Qibing prayed in his heart, praying that the Dark Phoenix Guidance Stone would be able to find an inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline smoothly. Slowly, the golden light on the Dark Phoenix Guidance Stone grew dimmer and dimmer, disappearing as the stone started to descend as well. Either the Dark Phoenix Guiding Stone had found the inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline, or the Dark Phoenix Guiding Stone hadn't found the inheritor. There were only two possibilities. The result would soon be revealed. With a swoosh, the Dark Phoenix Guiding Stone landed on a spot on the map. But no matter where it landed, as long as it didn't land on the starting point, it meant that it had found the inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline. Found it, Grand Elder, found it. Zhao Qibing pointed at the map and yelled. As far as he was concerned, the Dark Palace was about to become strong, and he, Zhao Qibing, was about to follow suit. What's the coordinate? Write it down and look it up on the computer. The Grand Elder was very excited. He didn't think that they would really find it. In this world, other than the inheritors of the Dark Palace, there was someone else with the Dark Phoenix bloodline. One had to know that the Dark Phoenix Guiding Stone couldn't be wrong. If it said there was, then there was. And now, they didn't need to look for the coordinates anymore. Now that they had computers, the Dark Palace was also using this kind of high-tech equipment. As long as they input the coordinates of the Dark Phoenix Guiding Stone into the computer, they would be able to pinpoint a city, although it was only a city's area. As long as they knew the approximate distance, the Grand Elder would be able to sense the existence of the inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline. All he had to do was follow his intuition. Chapter 3078. He entered the coordinates Zhao Qibing gave him into the computer, but the city's location shocked the Grand Elder. Grand Elder, the coordinates are in the north of East Ocean City. The disciple reported the result to the Grand Elder. Donghai City? Grand Elder, of course, wasn't a stranger to Donghai City. She sent people to cause trouble for Lin Yi in Donghai City, but she didn't expect the inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline to be in Donghai City as well. If the Grand Elder had known this, he would have gone to East Ocean City himself. Only those who had cultivated the Dark Knight Palace cultivation technique and reached the late stage of the Heaven Realm could sense the aura of the inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline, but the black-robed Elder didn't have this ability. That's right, it's Donghai City. The disciple turned the screen to face Grand Elder. The Grand Elder glanced at it and nodded, knowing that the disciple wouldn't lie to her. Now, she was ready to go to East Ocean City in person. Donghai City? That's great. It's heaven's will. Grand Elder smiled coldly. This way, I don't even have to do anything. I'll just find the inheritor and kill Lin Yi, Mengyao, and Peng Zhan. Grand Elder, you're wise. Zhao Qibing was overjoyed. If the Grand Elder came personally, then Lin Yi would be nothing no matter how strong he was. Grand Elder was a sky-class late-stage peak now. Killing Lin Yi would be a piece of cake. All right, Qibing, don't flatter me. I know you want to kill Lin Yi, but so do I. But this old one is also the same. Grand Elder said, but this time, you don't have to go with us. After all, I'm going out to find the inheritor, and if you go with me, it won't be easy for you to take revenge. Yes, Qibing wanted to see Lin Yi die with his own eyes, but since Grand Elder said no, he couldn't force it, could he? Black-clothed Elder, go talk to the Heavenly Elixir sect and a few other big ancient sections. The Palace of Darkness has activated the Dark Phoenix Guiding Stone and found a new inheritor of the Dark Phoenix. I'm going to enter the mortal world. The Great Elder said to the Elder in black. Yes, the black-clothed Elder quickly nodded. This time, it's perfectly justifiable for us to go. Let's see if the Heavenly Elixir sect dares to stop us. After returning the Dark Phoenix Guiding Stone to its original position and sealing the mechanism, the Grand Elder led the crowd away. He was preparing to enter and leave the mortal world. Yiwan Heir and Elder Li were the first to know what happened in the Dark Knight Palace. Although Yiwan Heir and Elder Li had lost their power, they still had some confidence in the Dark Knight Palace. They didn't need to hide what happened before, and they needed to spread the news to all the disciples of the Dark Knight Palace. So Yiwaner and Elder Li also knew. Elder Li, what a coincidence, they're both in Donghai. The Great Elder is going to deal with Yao Yao and Peng Zhan. What should we do? Yiwaner was a little lost. Although she was a Sky-class early-phase master, she didn't have any of the dignity of a Sky-class master. She was like a little girl. Young miss, I didn't expect such a coincidence either. Originally, if we were in two different cities, After the Grand Elder found the Dark Phoenix's inheritor, he would focus all his attention on the Dark Phoenix's inheritor and not bother young Miss and young Master. However, now that we're in the same city and it's on the way, it'll be easy for him to take revenge. This is a little difficult. Elderly was also having a headache. The coincidences had caught him off guard. Then, what should we do? Yuan panicked. I'll go beg the Great Elder now and ask her to show mercy. I'm still a Sky Class Master. Even if I'm not the Palace Master, I can still be an Elder of the Dark Knight Palace. The Great Elder wouldn't want me to have a problem with the Dark Knight Palace because of Yao Yao and Peng Zhan, right? Oh, that's a good reason. How about this? We'll go see the Great Elder now. Elderly nodded and said, Okay. Yuan also nodded and quickly ran with Elderly to the Great Elder's room. At this moment, the black-clothed elder had just gone to notify the Sky Elixir sect and a series of larger ancient sections. This way, the Dark Knight Palace would have enough reason to enter the mortal world. Great Elder, Palace Master. Yuan and Elderly are here to see you. A disciple carefully reported to the Great Elder. He almost said Palace Master, but after thinking about it carefully, he realized that it wasn't right. Right now, Yuan wasn't the Palace Master anymore. Oh, what are they here for? The Supreme Elder frowned. He didn't need to think about it to know that they were here to plead for leniency. But now that the Supreme Elder was in a good mood, he said to the disciple, Okay, then let them come in. Yes. The disciple quickly replied and left the room. After a while, Yuan and Elderly walked into the Great Elder's room together. Yuan, Elderly, why are you two here? The Great Elder asked. Great Elder, first of all, Elderly and I are here to congratulate the Great Elder for finding the inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline. This is a joyous occasion for the Dark Knight Palace, and as the previous Palace Master, I'm naturally very happy. Yuan didn't dare talk about Meng Yao and Peng Zhan directly, so she said a few good things first. Yes, this is indeed a good thing. The Grand Elder was also very happy. The Palace of Darkness was almost finished, but now it was back from the dead. There's one more thing that I would like to speak to the Great Elder about. Elderly suddenly spoke up. Speak. The Great Elder waved his hand and said to Elderly. It's like this, Great Elder, look, Yuan used to be the Palace Master, and although she isn't now, she's still an early phase Sky Class. We're currently lacking talents, so Yuan can become an Elder? Elderly said, That's for sure. An early phase Sky Class is more than enough to become an Elder of the Dark Knight Palace. The Great Elder nodded. Chapter 3079. The Elder couldn't help but nod. One had to admit that Elder Li's words made sense. If she were to kill Peng Zhan and Meng Yao, then Yuan would be traumatized as well and wouldn't be so eager to serve the Palace of Darkness. The Great Elder was a person who placed benefits above all else. In her heart, face and dignity were not important. Only the benefits of a sect were the most important. As long as it could bring benefits to the sect, it was a good thing. Those who brought benefits were good people. Otherwise, it was the opposite. No, Grand Elder. Just as the Grand Elder was hesitating and about to agree to Elder Li's request, Zhao Qibing jumped out. Oh, ambush, why not? Asked the Supreme Elder. Qibing only wanted to kill Lin Yi. Whether Meng Yao and Peng Zhan died or not, it didn't matter to him. The ones he wanted to kill the most were Lin Yi and Yushu. But if the Grand Elder were to let Meng Yao and Peng Zhan go, he wouldn't kill Lin Yi for him alone. So, Qibing jumped out and objected. Grand Elder, think about it. If you make a mistake and don't get punished, wouldn't everyone make a mistake? Qibing asked back. If this new inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline had a boyfriend, and she slept with him in private, wouldn't she learn from Yuan and we wouldn't punish her? Without severe punishment, how can we make her listen to us? Qibing, you're right. The Grand Elder nodded. Indeed, nothing could be accomplished without rules. If he let Peng Zhan and Meng Yao go, then he'd be in trouble. If the new inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline were to follow suit, wouldn't it be a complete mess? Grand Elder, it's not like that. Yuan immediately became anxious. Grand Elder, I agree with Zhao Qibing's opinion. The black-robed elder did not give Yuan Heir a chance to speak. He interrupted her and said to the Grand Elder, not only must he be punished, he must be severely punished. At that time, he'd find the inheritor and kill Pingzhan and Mingyao right in front of the inheritor's face. Kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Let her see the consequences of disobedience. Elder Blackrobe, you're right. The High Elder nodded. She had already made her decision. She waved her hand at Yuan Heir and said, Yuan Heir, you and Elderly can go back. I have made up my mind, and the matter has already been decided. There will be no more changes. Grand Elder, I beg you, please let Yao Yao and the others go. They are innocent. Yuan Heir was anxious. He immediately knelt on the ground. Zhao Qibing, send the guest off. The Grand Elder humphed coldly, unmoved by Yuan Heir's plea. Yuan Heir, Elderly, please? You don't want to piss off the Grand Elder, do you? Qibing said. He didn't put Yuan Heir and Elderly in his eyes at all. They were just existences that had lost power in the Palace of Darkness. Qibing believed that as long as he held onto the Grand Elder and the new Palace Master's thighs, his position in the Palace of Darkness would be secure. Of course, this was just the Grand Elder's wishful thinking. If he found the inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline, would she definitely come to the Palace of Darkness to train? Or she didn't come. As far as the Grand Elder was concerned, the Palace of Darkness was very powerful. It was an ancient sect, and people could gain immortality and strength through training. This was something that others would kill for. Wasn't Zhao Qibing the same as well? So, as far as the Grand Elder was concerned, as long as he found the inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline, she would cry and beg to come back to the Palace of Darkness with him. The question of whether or not she would come didn't even cross his mind. Yuan Heir and Elderly had no choice but to go back first. Yuan Heir could only wash her face with tears, while Elderly could only sigh. There was nothing he could do. Alexis LX570 stopped in front of Shueshang Business Hotel. This was a business hotel located in East Ocean University. A young man and a middle-aged man got out of the car. These two, naturally, were Dongfang Bruo and Dongfang Cha, who had come to Donghai City. Dongfang Cha, are you sure that Su Shirhan has come to Donghai City? Dongfang Bruo had gone through a long journey, and he had some necessities. Although he was a practitioner, he rarely took a car. This sudden trip made him very uncomfortable. He wanted to find a girl to have some fun with, and the best candidate was Su Shirhan. So, as soon as the car stopped, Dongfang Bruo couldn't wait anymore. I'm sure, young Master Bruo. Su Shirhan secretly took a plane to Donghai City and didn't inform the media, but I still found her flight records through a company in the common world, Dongfang Cha said. Dongfang Cha said, plus, Feng Tianlin of the ancient Feng family already knows about this. He doesn't want anything to happen to Su Shirhan, so he will definitely tell her to hide. So, Su Shirhan must be in East Ocean City. Then how do we know where Su Shirhan is? Dongfang Bruo was getting impatient. Donghai City is so big. Where are we going to find her? Don't worry, there will be news soon. I have other sources of information, Dongfang Cha said. Okay, if that's the case, then we'll wait. Dongfang Bruo knew that he wouldn't be able to see Su Shirhan today, so he said to Dongfang Cha, go find me a few female students. I want to have some fun. I've been cooped up at home for so long. I finally have the chance to come out and have some fun. No problem, young Master Bruo. Dongfang Cha nodded. Although, in his eyes, Dongfang Bruo was far from Dongfang Bruo, he couldn't help it. Dongfang Bruo died. Now that Dongfang Bruo was the only heir of the Dongfang family, Dongfang Cha would be able to get on Dongfang Bruo's good side. Then give me a room to rest first. Dongfang Bruo nodded. As far as he was concerned, getting Su Shirhan to bed with a master like Dongfang Cha wasn't a difficult task. Even without Dongfang Cha, Dongfang Bruo, who was an Earth-class late-phase peak, could handle it. On the other hand, investigating the cause of Dongfang Jian's death was more difficult. Who knew who Dongfang Jian offended in the Cultivator Trade Association? Now, the association wasn't cooperating, and he had to investigate by himself. How was he supposed to investigate? To be honest, Dongfang Bruo came to the common world for Su Shihan. Dongfang Jian's death was just an excuse. He didn't care about it all. Chapter 3080. He was a cold-blooded man. To him, Dongfang Jian might have died because of him, but he was still an elder of the Dongfang family. It was his honor to sacrifice for the family. Dongfang Cha went to look for a number for Dongfang Bruo. It had to be said that there were a lot of materialistic women working part-time. Dongfang Cha didn't even need to go out. She directly asked the hotel and got a lot of phone numbers. After finding two for Dongfang Bruo, Dongfang Cha left the hotel and prepared to inquire about Dongfang Jian. Dongfang Bruo didn't care about Dongfang Jian's death, but Dongfang Cha was very concerned about Dongfang Jian's death. Dongfang Cha was also an elder of the family, so he naturally had to find out the cause of Dongfang Jian's death. Otherwise, if Dongfang Cha died one day, no one would avenge him. However, Dongfang Cha received an angry phone call from Dongfang Bruo as soon as he left the hotel. Dongfang Cha, are you trying to kill me? Dongfang Bruo yelled. Young Master Bruo, what's wrong? Dongfang Cha was confused. He didn't know why Dongfang Bruo was so angry. He asked carefully, why would I do that? What the hell happened? What happened? Where the fuck did you find them? Dongfang Bruo yelled. At the hotel. The waiter gave me a name card. I found them. Dongfang Cha said carefully. He didn't know how he had offended Dongfang Bruo. Was the quality of the women he found too low? That couldn't be. He looked at the photos on the card and picked the two prettiest ones. Why wasn't Dongfang Bruo satisfied? Is that so? There are mushrooms down there. Dongfang Bruo yelled. One with mushrooms and one with flowers. Luckily, my eyes are good. Otherwise, I'd be dead if I got AIDS. Dongfang Cha was shocked. He didn't expect something like this to happen. It seemed like it was a sick lady in disguise. Dongfang Bruo was almost killed. Young Master Bruo, I don't know. You know that I asked them to go to their rooms after I found them. I could only see their faces. I couldn't take off their clothes to check. Dongfang Cha said with a bitter smile. Damn it, I told the two of them to scram. Dongfang Bruo said, This young master is very angry right now. Go and catch two pure ones for me. I want sex. I think with your eyesight, you should be able to tell, right? That's true, but, young Master Bu, we're here to investigate the cause of Dongfang Jian's death. What if something goes wrong if we arrest someone randomly? Dongfang Cha was a little hesitant. He didn't want to cause trouble. Capturing Su Shihan is also capturing. Can't we capture her? Dongfang Bruo snorted coldly. Dongfang Cha, if my father finds out that you gave me two sick girls, think about it yourself. Not weak, young master. Don't be angry. I'll go find two stunning beauties for you right now. Dongfang Cha hurriedly said, but high-quality ones can't be found in a day. That's not a problem. I've already hooked up with two waiters from the hotel. They're not bad, but you have to find me a beautiful woman in a few days. Dongfang Bruo nodded. That's not a problem. Okay, no problem. Dongfang Cha breathed a sigh of relief. As long as he had enough time, he could slowly look for them. He didn't have to rush. Dongfang Cha originally wanted to go to the trade association, but he could only change his route and find a nearby school. If he wanted to find stunning beauties, he had to be careful. Dongfang Cha looked at the navigation map on his phone. The nearest university was Donghai Industry University. Dongfang Cha walked in the direction of Donghai Industry University. After entering the campus, Dongfang Cha didn't look left and right like an idiot. Instead, he saw a few silk-haired guys sitting under the basketball hoop and chatting. Brothers, chatting? Dongfang Cha quickly walked over and pretended to be chatting. Uncle, who are you? These students were obviously still vigilant. They were still on guard when a stranger suddenly came over to talk to them. Haha, I'm the person in charge of the National School Beauties program on XX website. I'm here to count the school beauties of Donghai Industry University. Dongfang Cha said calmly. Why should we believe you? The guy clearly didn't believe Dongfang Cha. Who knows more? I'll pay for the clues. With that, Dongfang Cha took out a stack of cash from his pocket. There was about 3,000 to 4,000 yuan in it. The guy's eyes lit up. They rushed to say, I know. Okay, then you guys can say it together. Everyone can top it up. This money is yours. Dongfang Cha said. These guys were also good buddies in the same dormitory, so it didn't matter who gave the money to. Since everyone was spending it together, everyone started talking at once. The three most popular school beauties in our school are Chu Mingyao, Yu Shu, and Wang Xinyan. These three are the most popular school beauties in our school. One of the guys started talking. After those three is... Another guy was about to add, but Dongfang Cha cut him off. No need for that. We're choosing school beauties, not just anyone. The most beautiful ones from each school are enough. Dongfang Cha said. Now, tell me, what are these three school beauties? What are their majors? Do they have boyfriends? Dongfang Cha remembered Dongfang Brua's name. She had to find out if they had boyfriends or not. If they did, then so be it. Meng Yao and Yu Shu are economics majors. I don't think they have boyfriends. I don't know if they're close with any guy. One of the guys said. But those two are goddesses. One's super pretty, and the other has a great body. It's a perfect combination. Wang Xinyan's love life is a bit messy. She has a boyfriend at school, and I think she has a fiancé, but she's still living with her boyfriend. Another guy said. Chapter 3081. So, Dongfang Cha said, when we choose school beauties, we don't just need beauty, but also a good character. This Wang Xinyan doesn't study and only knows how to date. Forget it. Let's talk about Meng Yao and Yu Shu. Do you have any photos of them? Yes, we do. A guy quickly took out his phone and showed Yu Shu and Meng Yao's pictures to Dongfang T. Here they are. One's the goddess type, and the other has the face of an angel and the body of a devil. Dongfang T's eyes lit up when he saw Yu Shu and Meng Yao's picture. They were so pretty. Even he was tempted. Dongfang T thought that if he could have some fun with Dongfang Brua after he was done with them, it'd be a worthwhile trip. He wondered if young Master Dongfang Brua would let him have some fun with him. Dongfang T's heart itched at the thought, and he became a lot more enthusiastic. He'd been pissed at Dongfang Brua for asking him to do this. He was here to do business, not to pimp Dongfang Brua. But now, he was more than willing to do it. It'd be great if he could have sex with one of these girls, let alone two. Can you send it to me? Dongfang T asked. Of course. The guy sent it to Dongfang T. Dongfang T, on the other hand, gave the money to the guys after getting the pictures and information of Meng Yao and Yu Shu and started thinking about what to do next. Meng Yao and Yu Shu were both from the economics faculty, which meant that they must be having classes in the economics faculty's building. As long as he waited nearby, he'd be able to catch them. With that in mind, Dongfang T went back to the hotel and got his car, but on the way there, he received a call from the young master of the house, Dongfang Jinxing. Young master. Dongfang T answered the phone respectfully. Dongfang T, you've arrived, right? I saw that you've arrived in Donghai, and you're driving to the Slave Trade Association? Dongfang Jinxing asked. Dongfang Cha paused. She wasn't going to the Slave Trade Association. She was going to East Ocean Industry University. However, it was impossible to lie to Dongfang Jinxing. Not to mention that Dongfang Cha did not dare to lie in front of Dongfang Jinxing. Even if she lied, Dongfang Jinxing had to believe her. Not only did the car have the Dongfang family's GPS, but it also had a recording and video system. How could he dare to speak carelessly? Therefore, Dongfang Jinxing hesitated for a moment and decided to tell the truth. After all, betraying Dongfang Buqiu was better than lying to Dongfang Jinxing. Young master, I'm going to East Ocean Industry University. Dongfang Cha said. East Ocean Industry University? Dongfang Jinxing paused and asked, Dongfang Cha, what are you doing there? Young master, it's like this. Dongfang Cha didn't dare to hide anything. She told Dongfang Jinxing about how Dongfang Brua wanted to have some fun in East Ocean City, but he found two sick girls. Now, I'm going to catch them for young master Brua, this little bastard. Dongfang Jinxing frowned, but he couldn't say anything. Dongfang Brua was spoiled by Dongfang Badeo. This time, he went to deal with Su Shirhan, and Dongfang Badeo allowed it. What was the big deal about catching two? Therefore, although Dongfang Jinxing wasn't happy, he still said, Okay, Then be careful. Don't let anyone see it and leave any evidence. Although we are an ancient sect, there are still other ancient sects that restrict us. Don't worry, young master. The purpose of my driving here is to knock them out and put them in the car. When the time comes, no one will know. We'll find out, Dongfang Cha said. Okay, then after you finish these things, try to find time to investigate Dongfang Jian. If you go to the mortal world and don't even go to the Slave Trade Association, then it won't be right. Don't forget the reason why we enter the mortal world. Dongfang Jinxing said. I understand, young master. I will go tomorrow. Dongfang Cha said. Dongfang Jinxing didn't say anything else and directly hung up the phone. In his opinion, catching 2 students wasn't a big deal. In the ancient sects, the concept of human life was relatively weak. In their eyes, ordinary people were similar to ants. Only masters were important. Dongfang Cha drove the car directly to the economics department and waited for them to arrive. At this moment, it was not far from the end of the school. Time passed by, and finally, Dongfang Cha waited for the end of the class. From the economics department's teaching building, students began to come out in 2s and 3s. As a sky class, Dongfang Cha's spiritual sense was extremely strong. He didn't need to get close to the students to be able to clearly distinguish Meng Yao and Yushu among the students who came out. At this moment, the 2 hadn't come out yet. However, after waiting for 10 minutes, Dongfang Cha found Meng Yao and Yushu. However, Dongfang Cha didn't make a move immediately. Instead, he drove the car behind the 2. There were too many people here, and if Dongfang Cha made a move, the other students would block the car in front of him. Although he wasn't afraid of killing all these students, it would still be troublesome. So, Dongfang Cha waited until Meng Yao and Yushu walked in the direction of the parking lot. Only when there was no one else on the road did he suddenly step on the gas pedal. The car sped up and stopped beside Meng Yao and Yushu. He opened the door and jumped out in front of Meng Yao and Yushu. After school, the other students either went back to their dorms or went to the cafeteria. Almost no one went to the parking lot. Only Meng Yao and Yushu went to the parking lot every day when they went home, so there weren't many people on the road. The place that Dongfang Cha chose to make a move was a blind spot. Even if there were people far away, they wouldn't be able to see it. What are you doing? Meng Yao looked at the person in front of her vigilantly. But Dongfang Cha wasn't an idiot. She didn't waste any time talking to Meng Yao and Yushu. She grabbed the 2 girls by the collar and knocked them on the back of their necks, knocking them out cold. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.